tempo. Yeah. Mr. Wiggly, I acoustic, yo. Hey, step inside, I give thanks and the highest praise. Ground myself to my earth, connect.
Well, here we go. Let's see if I am broadcasting. It's touch and go for a moment. I'm not muted. I can see some signals going on. Hello to everyone in the chat. Give me a big shout or a wave if I'm not coming through. It's been everything's been a good week this week, up and down, but it's all change. Shay Studio and everything. So everything's been kind of reorganized in here. Nothing huge, but it's tied it up a little bit. We got some extra cameras and stuff I've managed to wire up to get everything going. No one's quite said yes yet whether we have a Mr. Wiggly. I'm guessing no one said anything yet, so that's it. I have a spoffle on the mic still. Just check the level going in. Might be a little bit hot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we do have a couple of other camera angles. One of which I can show you, which is like a studio cam. So this is where Loullamae will be sitting in a minute, which is why there's a chair behind me. But that's a kind of a view of the whole studio. And there are other views on the modular behind me. Something's happened. I got a horn went off, which is absolutely fantastic. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for the donation that's just popped up, which is Wagyu. Thank you so much for that. I can't even see it appearing in the chat. Yes, I do. Thank you so much. So what a wonderful thing to do. Thank you. I was just going to say we're hornless today, but it looks like I've managed to wire up a semi-horn, an alternative horn, which is obviously not a real horn, but it allows us to have a horn if Hazel the dog comes up. So yeah, so now you can see sort of the entire room, the Starship Wiggly, but also come back to me in my, back in the real world. Thank you so much. Talking of amazing and wonderful charity style donations, all of the super chats and stuff that go into here go, as I'm sure most people in the chat already know, go to Great Ormond Street Hospital in full without YouTube taking their chunk out, because we put it back. And it's absolutely brilliant that it goes through in that way. We raised about £60 on the last stream, and that meant that it was quite good, the numbers. I'll show you the whole thing in a second, but it meant that we made £7,453 forever, just slightly over a year, which is only less than £50 away from £7,500. So that's stunning. And with the current exchange rate, that makes for our American listeners $8,479. So literally $21 away from $8,500. I mean, it's just amazing. You guys are so generous, particularly the Ben Bresins, the Ties, the Kent Spongs, every one of you, absolutely the same names appear, on week in and week out. And we're absolutely, honestly, really indebted to you all. Thank you so much. There is a video to run later that just says thank you to everyone. It's getting longer and longer. So I will think of something else at some stage. But honestly, to be able to raise $8,500, £7,500 British pounds for such an amazing charity from, a small YouTube stream on a Sunday with Loullamae's effort and so forth. It's just brilliant. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you do want to donate, hit the super chat button, put in £1 and say something, and it should honk the horn. And we should all get it, which is absolutely wonderful. Looks like, my goodness me, Andrew Brooks, thank you very much indeed. That's very kind of you for the £5, and you're one of those people on the list, just like Tony Duncan, who has given $5. So thank you very much indeed for both of you. Oh, fantastic. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Simon Greatbatch, who was a fabulous guest last week. If you missed it, go check out last week's stream. £10 from you. Thank you so much. I would say we're about 20 odd pounds short from 7,500. It's all going on. I think we have a delayed horn, which suits me fine, and it's not taking my ears off. So to all of you, thank you so much. So as well as changing all the studio, wonder if that's new ones or old ones. As well as changing the whole studio around, like I say, with the new camera angle. Got a few bits of new, it's not really new anything to be honest, but just a better layout so I can make a few more videos. The idea is to make at least a video a week. That's the idea. Stop procrastinating, get on and do something. So hopefully I'll do at least one afternoon chill out stream a week. If you managed to catch them a couple of weeks ago, I did a couple of days just like chilling out in the afternoon and chatting and doing stuff. So I'll do at least one of those, probably Tuesday and or Friday. So come down Tuesday and chill out Fridays. And also at least one kit video as well. So I'm going to kick off with a little one about the little Roland T8, which I'll start filming on Monday, which should be good. You can't hear the horn. Okay, cool. You can't hear the horn. Let me see. Let me see if I can hear the horn. Well, it tells me what's going on. 1 second. Maybe I'll fire off a horn when I hear it. That'll do for now. It's always the simplest ideas that work best. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you. There's loads of chat going on, which is fantastic. Will Joseph is the first one I can see, although I know other people were in there earlier. Tony Duncan, hello to you. Homegrown, hello. Electronic Sounds Audio, you must be here because you're my wonderful guest who will appear any second. Point 2, hello Gasm, thank you for joining. Crazy o'clock in your place. Tony Duncan, it must be very early in the morning, I think, in your area of the world, Gasm. Who else has come in? Paul Artola, Azio Head, Prometheus UK. Inky, hello to you, Inky. Inky's head moderator, looking after everybody. We love Inky. She's really the whole reason this stream exists, and without her, none of this would happen. So be nice to her, and she won't kick you out of the chat. Keith in Watford, Jansetta. Dr. Synth, Culture of Ghost, gosh, goodness me, there are literally loads. Lady Aptitude, hello to you. I will catch up with everybody a little bit later because it's gone streaming off down the bottom of the stream at the moment, which is great. We love having you with us. And if you're listening on replay, welcome aboard. Thank you very much for joining us. I Sing the Body Electric. Thank you so much. It's not quite the same as having an automatic horn blasting my head off, but it is still really good. Thank you, I Sing. It's really, really, really kind of you and so much appreciated. So much appreciated. We have a wonderful guest with us. I've been after this guest for blinking ages, to be honest. I've known him for blinking ages as well. His name is Dean. He has a company, it's Dean Daughters. He has a company called Electronic Sounds, which I think it would be fair to say was reasonably small, or at least unknown, when I first talked to him quite a few years ago now. Although they make sound libraries fundamentally, and they're amazing. I mean, but even back then, the sounds that I heard were just incredible. And he'd done quite a lot of sounds for other companies. Vengeance, for example, like huge, amazing sample libraries for very, very well-renowned things, but obviously without his name on them. It's almost like a ghostwriter for sound libraries. And then, safe to say, I think over the last couple of years, it's just exploded, and I've seen loads of product coming out, loads of brand new, exciting, shiny kit arriving. He's working so hard, and to be honest, has done since the very, very beginning. And I'm hoping it's as successful as it seems from the outside, because honestly, it couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. The amount of work that he's put in, and really the quality. And I'm not bigging him up because he's a mate, I mean, the quality of these sounds is exceptional. The only other company in terms of drum sounds that I've come across with that attention to detail, to be honest, is F9, the UK. You know, their 909 library, for example, one of millions of 909 libraries out there, is exceptionally good, and they're obviously putting a lot of work into it. The thing with electronic sound, it's just like across the board, and the packs fit, you know, loads of different things, and honestly, just absolutely amazing. So I can't big him up anymore. Gethsemane Music, thank you. $10 from Gethsemane Music, also a previous guest on the show, so please check back over previous episodes, search Gethsemane, and he'll be in there, or he'll be in the Sunday playlist if you go and check that out. Really, really nice guy with a lovely set of Moogs over there. So yeah, without further ado, let's introduce the amazing Dean Daughters. Hello to you, sir. How are you doing?
Having me.
No worries. It's an absolute pleasure to have you aboard. Is it true? Has it really exploded for you, or has it always been hugely successful, or are you still? Are you
Well, I
smashing
mean,
it?
I've been at this since 1994.
Gee.
So I mean, this is really like my life's passion, making sounds and stuff. But it was always, a pretty small situation for me. Like nobody really needs sounds these days. I mean, the choices we have there's, free samples. I mean, even everywhere. So there wasn't a whole lot of demand for what I was doing. But I sort of made a decision to sort of step away from focusing on products for like the desktop and desktop composers, and started really focusing in on creating products for, the hardware users. Because, when we take a look at like virtual instruments for the desktop and whatnot, there's just countless amounts of sounds and expansions for just about every virtual instrument you can imagine. But when it comes to the hardware side of things, there's not near the variety and the choice for getting more sounds into your boxes. So I really started focusing on the hardware side of things, and people started discovering me who, had never heard of me before. And
Right.
that's really, really, helped. And plus, I just love being hands-on with the gear.
Just like this
So
this thing.
it's exactly.
I just bought your pack for
It-
this,
well,
a
thank you
couple
so
of weeks
much.
ago. No. You've got to make a living as well. Yeah, no, put the money where your mouth is. It's amazing. I'm new to this, and I thought this is really cool. And then I saw you had this huge pack of crazy stuff, which was a really good value. And it's a new machine,
Yeah,
It really is a new machine.
I really love the model samples as well. I think it's like the least expensive and awesome way to get into the Electron workflow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So please, so you're focusing then really on stuff like that. You have a model samples. Here's a bunch of patches for it, or a bunch of styles.
A lot of people I find a lot of people get these hardware, machines with the idea that, I can sample anything into this I want. And that's awesome. And that's the point of it all. But then when it gets here and maybe doesn't have a whole lot of sounds in it, and you're trying to just write music and go, and you're like, well, now I need to sort of sample everything in that I want to use, and it starts to actually become a little bit tedious, and maybe, a lot of people aren't using those boxes as much as they really could be if they were full of sounds. And that's where I come in. I just love making sounds. I love making sounds even more than I love making music. Wow. You know what I mean? And I love putting sounds into boxes that encourage other people to make music.
And the demos, though, I mean, well, they're not demos. They're tracks. I mean, the demos that you put together to accompany the sounds and the patches are just like, whoa, which I think is probably another huge part of why people are getting turned onto your stuff in such a big way, because it's the whole package. But you're dead right about, if I got Deluge or the something. I mean, there's some bits on it. It's nice. And the idea, I can sample stuff. I mean, generally, if I'm doing something like that, I would normally do it on the computer and then stick it across. Well, obviously, there's no choice with one of those. But, generally, rather than plug it in and sampling, I'd make it. But then after about 2 days, and you've got 10 kick drums,
10 sounds, right?
This is taking a while, and then kind of you give up, and then $30 or whatever it might be from one of your sample libraries fills the whole thing up.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Even if you hated half the sounds, which you'll never would, I tell you, there is always usable stuff in there, which is inspirational. It's a bit like buying a new synth and playing the patch and go, there's a good chord in there.
Exactly. I have another thing about that, like you said, buying a synth and playing a patch. That's another thing that I'm really about. Like, even though I'm a sound designer and I make, patches and sounds and all of that stuff, I still use presets, and I don't have any problem using a preset that somebody else made. That's the whole point of why your boxes come with sounds. Totally. They are meant to be used. I mean, I don't, that whole concept of, you have to make it yourself to be able to use it and be legit. I don't adhere to that, even as, somebody who makes pretty much 99% of their own sounds. I still use presets.
That's refreshing to hear. I mean, I think possibly it dates back to when we were all trying to find loop samples of funky drummers way back in the day, and everyone was very protective because,
Yeah, where
you
I
just had
come
to get
from, everything was protected. There was no YouTube,
Exactly.
there was no internet, and if
Yeah.
your bro made a great beat, he sure as hell was not going to tell you how he made it.
Exactly that.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Those were all secrets. Yeah.
Never leave your sample library behind in the studio overnight. It was like, and I can understand that because that is a whole track almost. You know what I mean? This is a whole beat. You couldn't make that stuff, and it's very identifiable, and it's probably part and parcel of a massive tune that's about to happen. But it sounds inertly. Or even a drum pattern that's programmed that you start modifying. No, absolutely. I mean, and I wouldn't mind. I use whatever creatively, loops or whatever. You're just sounding a bit jaded if you're using funky drums still 30 years later. But no, I completely agree. I don't think you have to. It's you don't necessarily have to write the song to be the singer. You don't have to play the keyboards to be programming the drums.
See, that's just it. Everybody these days is talking about what a benefit collabing is, and people are collabing more and more than ever, right? But I don't see the difference between using someone else's preset and collabing with another producer, because that's exactly what you're doing when you're using someone else's preset.
100%.
And if you look at it that way, instead of with some sort of stigmatism on it, I think it could really change the way that you approach making music in general.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. What are you? I don't really want to find out what you're up to next, but what's your current favorite sample box of choice? Would you say?
Man, I mean, see, that's the thing. Being a sound designer and a sample maker for a living, a lot of people would, maybe think that this guy just has a blast, just playing with sounds all the time and doing whatever he wants to do.
Kind
with
of
this
did think that, to be fair.
magic room full of awesome gear, but see, it's not really like that. I mean, it's a job as much as anything else is a job. At the end of the day, and I have to make packs, and I have to pay the bills, and I have to pay the rent, and I have to eat. My current favorite box in here to play with is the Poly Int Play. I did put out a giant sample pack for this called the Sandbox. And basically it's 20 more sample packs in the exact format that this box takes, and another folder full of like 3,000 extra bonus samples on top of those. And so this is really like my passion right now, like just spending time with the Play. But as a sound designer, that product, is available. I've made demos for that, and I've now, just released my next product, which is actually the biggest bank I've ever made for the Roland SP404.
My other
MK2.
favorite thing. Oh man!
And this new pack that I've just put out for this has over 12,000 samples, and it's the largest pack that I've ever put together ever. And so instead of really like spending a lot of time in here, like playing with the gear and having a lot of fun with music and just experimenting, it's really, there's deadlines and there's sample numbers to meet and products to put out, and so now I'm currently, even though I'd much rather be, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the SP404. I love this box. But it's not as easy to use as the Poly Int Play for me, because I'm new to this. This is my first SP404.
Right.
And so I filled it up with sounds, and now I'm kind of learning that box so I can make some demo examples of this new sound bank for that box.
Honestly, I think...
And I've got 2 more sound banks that are waiting to be made. I need more of me. I just need to clone some of me so that I can work harder in here.
Those are my 2 favorite things, I think. And I own an original OG 404, which I just like because it's cool. I haven't tried the new ones, but Poly Int Play has been on my list ever since Berlin. And I mean, to be honest, you putting something out is the difference between getting one and not. Do you know what I mean? That's like, that's
I appreciate
available.
that. A lot of people have told me that they picked up the Play specifically because
for
I made
your
a
sounds.
sound
you
bank
would.
for it.
If you're on the fence. I mean, they're not outrageously cheap.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like the factory sounds that come in the Play. They are fun to play with, but when I got the box, I did an experiment where I made a track using only the factory sounds, and then I some tracks using only my sounds, and at the end of the day, I definitely prefer using my own sounds than the sounds that come in the box. And that's certainly one, I have to admit, that is a selfish reason for being a sound designer, is I do definitely design sounds that I want to use, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, but they work. They work. And
thank you.
I mean, they're seriously, and I mean, for me, that would be like, oh, do you know what? I've sat on the fence. I really would like one of those, and now it's a kind of a no-brainer. It really is, and I'm sure the manufacturers see that kind of stuff. Are you contacted by many people at the moment?
I would really like to buy into that last sentence, but you know, I don't really have like the solid contacts with Polyand. I don't have any contacts with Roland. I actually, before I released my original Digitac banks on my own, I was in contact with the Electron, and they sort of just kind of fizzled out with their interest in me. So I was like, fine, then I'll just release this stuff on my own. And at the end of the day, I'm really glad that I didn't end up working with Electron on some of that stuff, because you know, when it's my products, you know, I can make that, I can sell that, I can back that, and I can make more. And I don't have to deal with like jumping through the hoops of other companies. Like, for instance, when you work with Vengeance, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, you know.
I never thought of that. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's kind of nice just working for myself now. Although recently I have done quite a few outside sound design jobs that are coming out, and that's been pretty exciting as well.
On the for third party stuff. Or
yeah. I just did 2 more sound banks for the brand new Audio Modern Loop Mix instrument, which I think is like one of the most inspiring new virtual instruments to come out for desktop and iPad in quite some time. You can load 6 loops into it and then remix those in pretty much an infinite manner. So I've got a free pack for that that's just come out, and then another free pack for Loop Mix that'll be out in a few months.
Wow, I wasn't aware of that. I was just putting it up. Let's see if I can just share my screen on that one.
Yeah, Loop Mix is really a must-have. If you've got a loop library of your own, especially, oh my gosh, you've got a brand new loop library when you load it into Loop Mix. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's brand new. It's from Audio Modern. It's a creative loop mixer and randomizer. It's very similar to like their Playbeat app, which I've also done sound banks for, except this one remixes loops instead of arranging one-shot samples.
Nice.
But so anybody with an iPad, you've got to pick this up. I think it's like $9.99 on the iPad. It's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah, if it's that, absolutely.
Super fun, super inspiring.
$49 actually, but that's for the computer version.
For the computer version, yeah.
Nice.
And they have a lot of free apps as well, like Filter Step and Panflow. They're really cool. They got some great inspiring stuff.
We got a good comment from Scott, KC2CAT, Mr. Wiggly. You're all wrong. You got to grow the tree to build the guitar to write your songs. I think you got it. Anything else like that's come out then for third-party stuff? Anything exciting?
There's
that we should be
something that's coming out really soon, but I can't quite quite reveal that one yet.
No, it's amazing. Big tip of the hat from Dr. Synth and all those who do great sample stuff. Never had the patience for it. Absolutely. And the quality.
I know a lot of people don't, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons that really turned me onto it, like way back in the 90s, you know. Like when I started, there was no internet, there was no YouTube, there was audio sample CDs for $100 each, and that was the only option you had for getting new sounds into your samplers. That was it.
Man.
Or sampling them yourself.
I remember those times.
Yeah.
And you didn't get to listen to them as well.
And you didn't. No, you didn't. It was, and most of them were not very good.
No, exactly.
And you would spend your $100, go home, be all inspired, get 1 or 2 sounds, and then at the end of the day, feel pretty disappointed.
Yeah. I had a whole CD
It was those feelings of disappointment from buying what was available that, you know, really encouraged me to start Electronic Sounds in the first place and start making my own, you know, sample CDs.
I know. I mean, I think it was Skippy's Beats or something I bought once on CD.
Right, right. Yes.
I'm sure it was very good if you wanted a drummer playing some beats, but it wasn't really marketed in that way. You know, it was meant to be funky loops, but it was, and I think, well, this is great, but you know, it was as described. It was me. You know, you just didn't have a chance. And then Time and Space launched those in-store. Things where you could at least listen to them, you know. But wow, what a!
Of course, Guitar Center was always out of the ones you needed.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was switched off in the corner of the room or something. Mad, absolutely mad. I mean, are you obviously Loullamae's in the house? We're going to do a quiz in a minute.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And it's her birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday!
Absolutely.
Woo-hoo.
So anyone in the chat didn't know it was Loullamae's 11th birthday this week, and so I recorded Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Loullamae, happy birthday to you. Woohoo! There you go. Happy birthday Loullamae. So it's no longer 10-year-old Loullamae's quiz. It's 11-year-old Loullamae's quiz, so I've redone that jingle as well.
It was a 9-year-old Loullamae's.
Originally, that's right. Actually, that's right. So we're now definitely over a year. Must be a year and a little bit then.
Yeah.
Wow, it must have just crossed that. I think it was October actually when it started, because I was going back to check out what was going on. Did I just see Mrs Wiggly floating? Hold on one second, Dean. Where is she? Let's see what we can do. She is
We're
there.
in a camera together.
We are, look, and it's a camera just up there. Hang on, Mrs Wiggly, let me plug you in.
Let me plug my things in.
Okay.
Oh, I got a
Hello,
clipboard.
everyone. Hi, Dee.
Hello, Mrs. Wiggly.
Hello, nice
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see everyone in the chat. Sorry, a bit out of breath. I just ran up the stairs.
Have you noticed your new clipboard, Mrs Wiggly?
Oh, God. Haven't you been busy?
I
Tidying
have.
up the studio. Everything looks all nice and shiny.
We got a double
No
camera
wonder
now.
I haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
It's true, actually. It's true. It feels like a new studio.
What colour do you have?
I've got blue.
Ooh, I got
What's your colour?
Pink, Loullamae's
Oh,
got.
Loullamae's got pink and Daddy's got what?
yellow.
I've got yellow.
Daddy's got yellow. You should have really had the blue.
Oh, yeah,
you're
I
a
should have done,
boy.
really. Well, there are a couple of other colours. I think there's a white as well.
Ooh.
Okay, I might swap it for next week.
You All right, whilst I set everything up, let's just have one more happy birthday for Loullamae. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Loullamae. Happy birthday to you. Oh, yeah. Right, everyone in the chat, it's time to do a quick quiz, and then we're really going to find out exactly what makes Dean tick afterwards. We'll play one of his tunes in about half an hour and find out the history, because one thing I haven't touched on, you're a drummer originally, aren't you?
Yes.
And I think that's actually something that relates to really well to the demos and to be the sounds that you produce, because you've come at it from a drummer's mentality to make fundamentally drum sounds. I think it's huge. A good drummer as well. I mean, you know, properly good drummer. In a funky way. I would put you in the Copeland camp rather than the Collins camp.
I studied from the Copeland camp as opposed to the Collins camp. That is a fact.
Paching. There you go. There you go. So, and that's the better part of the drummer. But no, you know, big ups to Collins and all that. But it's not funk, is it really? Cool. Okie dokie. So yeah, anyone in the chat wants to join in, you should be switched to live chat in YouTube, not the other kind of chat. Live chat is great. What's it, Dean?
I think
It's
it's
live chat is greater than top chat.
Top chat, that's the one. Can you remember top chat for next
Yeah.
time? I can never remember it. I got the live chat bit this time. It's sinking in. Yeah, pop onto live chat, otherwise you'll miss half the answers. It is only for fun, and when you appear to us in the chat, it's slightly different order sometimes. So if you think you were first, and you're definitely first in your chat, it may not appear like that to us. But Mrs Wiggly is in charge of all the scoring, to be honest, and she'll probably give you a point anyway. Have you seen many of the quizzes, Dean?
Yes, I have.
I thought you
yeah.
had. You know what's
I'm
coming.
familiar.
so-
I'm familiar with the routine.
Okie dokie, thank goodness for that. I did forget to ask, but I know you've been watching it. I need a live a live chat tattoo on my arm. Yeah, absolutely. I should get that. Oops, that was the wrong message.
Just on
wins.
the forehead would do.
Live chat.
Live chat.
Could sell advertising space. Actually, on the back of my head. Dean, if I put like an electronic sounds?
I'm sure we can work something out. Yeah.
Yeah, $20 or something, or maybe a couple of free packs. That would be cool. Hey,
temporary
is that Amelia? Puppy Power 5503.
Amelia,
Happy power. Woohoo.
That is Loullamae's best friend. Do you want to say? Oh, you did say hello. There you
Hi,
go.
Amelia.
It's lovely to see. That is Amelia's puppy as well.
Sandy.
Who is best friends with Hazel,
Yeah.
who is Loullamae's puppy. So it's all good. It's all very, very good. Hello, lovely to see you. You're just in time for the quiz. Okay, yeah. So hopefully these aren't Googleable. That was really the point of these ridiculous questions. And obviously this is what the donations are for, really, so that we can raise money for Great Ormond Street. So thank you in advance for all of that. I didn't tell you, Loullamae, we're just short of £7,500, which is incredible.
That's awesome.
Which is just short of $8,500 with the exchange
That is
rate.
amazing.
Shows actually we made a lot more this week than we did with the same amount of money last week, just because of the exchange rate. It's really weird, but that's sort of how exchange rates work, really. Did I show a picture of baby owls last week?
What?
Did I show a picture of
No.
baby? Just to bring the quiz in. Look, these are the cutest things in the world. That's what baby owls look like.
Wait, that's a baby owl.
Yeah, apparently.
They're tiny.
I mean, they are. They are so cute, though. That's for you, Amelia. Baby owls from Loullamae. And I think I did show the pumpkins, didn't I? I
Yeah.
can't remember last week. That's
Mummy's got eaten.
Yeah, Mummy's pumpkin, which is in the front with the big sad face. It doesn't really have a face anymore, actually, does it?
No, I think it's been nibbled by a squirrel.
Or Hazel.
Hazel. I
Oh,
don't know.
maybe. Yeah, I don't think so.
or
I think
something.
maybe a fox or a
It's got
squirrel's
a
had a
really sad face
little
now.
nibble.
It's so sad. Okay, stand by. Are you ready, Dean?
Yes.
Are
Let's
you
do
ready,
this.
Mrs. Wiggly?
Yep.
Are you ready, Loullamae?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Just note, this is the 11-year-old Loullamae's quiz. I changed the jingle and
How many squeaks can Hazel squeak her toy in a row at one go?
Dum, dum, dum. How many squeaks can Hazel squeak in one go? She squeaks her toy. Go for it, Dean.
Let's go with 3.
More.
More?
You can have another guess.
Count.
Okay, let's go with 5.
More.
More.
More. How many teeth does this dog have?
He's an incredible squeaker.
Let's go
Wagyu
with
is very
9.
close.
Let's go with 10.
More.
Let's go with 27.
No, that's not quite right. Don't say more or less anymore because they know the ballpark. Oh, there's some very close ones. You can have another guess if you want, Dean.
19.
Oh, Will Joseph!
Hooray!
Well done.
Now, in the midst of all that, something very exciting happened that I missed because I heard a horn in my head.
There was
And
something
the
came in for
wonderful
$50, I think.
Dr. Synth, thank you so much. You are so, so kind. Thank you, Dr. Synth. That has basically smashed the £7,500, $8,500 mark. So thank you. Can we get some big,
Wow.
big love in the chat, please, for Dr. Synth? That's very, very kind of you. I spoke to Kent just before the stream, actually, and he is good. He's been, he's a bit tired. I think he didn't use the word tired, but it meant tired. And he's fine, though. He's fine. He's really, really good. So we're going to be chatting tomorrow, which is really cool. Yes, wow, Hazel indeed, Amelia. It's an incredible squeaker. So
She's really good at football as well.
she is. And balloons.
Yeah,
good at
you throw a
football.
balloon
And
in the air and it will
balloons.
go down and she'll boink it back up.
Boops
into
it.
the
Like she'd be like
Nose.
an excellent puppy volleyball player.
Our house is just revolving around Hazel now, isn't it? Anyway, all right, stand by, Dean. Here you go. Take full advantage of your lack of delay in the chat. Here we go.
How many puppies are on this birthday card?
Oh, this is a picture round. So
Get the birthday
stand
card.
by. The birthday card. I took a picture of it because it was
Oh,
easier
that
than
was
putting it on
yeah,
camera.
that was mine.
So I'm not going to put it up for very long, but I'm going to pop this birthday card up on the screen, and then I'm going to pop it off again and tell me how many you think are on
My
this.
birthday card.
This is Loullamae's birthday card. There you go.
65.
Oh, no.
101.
65 was closer than 101, I got to say.
48.
Close there.
46.
No.
Amelia's really close.
Oh yeah.
I've got to give a point to Amelia.
Point
for
to
that.
Amelia for being so close.
Yeah.
Oh, so close, everyone, but not
Everyone's
quite.
really. Oh, Inky the cat.
Inky!
Inky!
I gotta find her now.
Inky, she got
Where is she?
52.
it. Unless somebody else got it.
No,
before
no, I
Inky.
can't even find Inky. Hold on, Inky. If I can find you in the comments, I'll stick you straight up on the screen.
Where's Inky?
Inky, I'll play your jingle if you want.
Yeah, Inky definitely got it.
Oh, Inky the cat, Inky the cat, Inky the cat. Works very well with the chat music behind it.
And I'm going to give a point to Amelia as well for being ever so close.
Absolutely, she was.
Well done, Amelia. That
There
was
she
so
is. There she is. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done, Inky.
Hooray!
Woo, 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 woo. And thanks again, Dr. Synth, for that amazing donation. It's really, really super cool of you. Thank you very, very much.
For this question, you've only got the first bit.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Should
thought
I-
that was the question. No, that's all right.
Is
You do you. That's absolutely cool. I'm not quite sure. I mean, there's plenty of questions to come. Okay, we're gonna change question here. Carry on.
Yeah, you definitely got it, Inky. Don't question yourself. I've got you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, yeah. There are two things for lunch. Oh, well, that's kind of what the question is anyway. All right, you ready? Come on, Dean. We're rooting for you here.
It was from Mummy and Daddy, Amelia. We got her that card.
Okay, here we go. Whoops, not that one. This one.
What did I have for lunch?
This is one that Wagyu usually gets because somehow he seems to be standing in the corner.
We carry him around in our
Sorry,
pocket.
Dean?
Cucumber sandwich.
No,
No.
no, it's Sunday. It's a kind of a more of a.
Roast beef sandwich.
I think he gets that. It wasn't in a sandwich, but I
It
think
wasn't
you
in
can
a
have
sandwich,
that
but
one.
you've got a
Absolutely.
point for roast beef, definitely.
Roast beef was the main course.
Yeah. What did I have for a starter?
Loullamae actually did have a starter as well.
It was a proper starter.
Let's go with mashed potatoes and salad gravy.
No. As in a kind of an entree, as in a little, I had this before the roast beef course. A posh thing. So it was quite a light, but very wintry.
Oh,
Get
Grace
some.
Griffin's close.
Grace
There's a few
Griffin.
close ones, but you
Oh,
need to have
stew.
the type.
Stew. We're talking
Well,
stew.
There's a lot of soups,
No.
but it's
Of
a,
course,
partic-
Amelia
type
guessed
of soup.
broccoli.
a particular kind
Oh,
of
Kent's
soup.
wrong.
Ken, hold that thought, you amazing guy. I know he's got us. Okay, hold. Stay for 2 seconds, Ken. Kent Spong has just given another
Oh.
£50. Thank you so much.
Hooray.
Thank you, sir. The amazing Kent Spong. Kent Spong, can you tell me what's wrong? Can't say, got to get a CS60, which is a very, very old and amazing synthesizer finish for tomorrow morning. Well, thank you very much for dropping
Thank
by,
you,
Kent.
Kent.
If you missed the beginning, we're about $8,600 now, £7,600 almost. So thank you so much, sir. Enjoy your CS60. And maybe you'll be listening in the background. Thank you for that. Sorry to pause the quiz, but that was a monumental moment from Kent Spong and Dr. Synth. Thank you so, so much. So we got soup going on.
Amelia's guessed broccoli or carrot soup.
You're very
'Cause you
close to me.
know.
I would never eat carrot soup.
Has anyone got it?
Not yet.
Oh yeah, they can't.
Are we talking bisque? Is that maybe the direction?
No,
that
no, we're talking a vegetable.
It is a vegetable soup you wouldn't normally associate with
Vegetable.
kids,
You wouldn't
I
really.
guess. I mean, I'm not. You're a young lady now, but do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not a children's.
Brussels sprout doesn't really make a soup, though.
No.
No. Okay. Cauliflower soup, though.
Close.
Close, I'd say.
Kind of.
I mean, it's.
I wouldn't say it's close. Definitely not close.
There are lots of them around at this time of year. Certainly in the UK.
Potato soup.
No.
Rutabaga soup. Turnip soup.
People go out and pick them in the fields.
Yeah.
Strawberry soup.
Oh, Andrew Brooks got it.
Andrew
Yeah.
Brooks.
Andrew
Andrew
Brooks.
Brooks.
Oh, Jonathan
Down.
Dent got it before him. Sorry.
Hang on, I'll do the hallelujahs. Okay, so Jonathan Dent
Got it before.
was mushroom. It was mushroom soup. Andrew Brooks close second. Paul Artola
Yeah,
reckons it was
Jonathan Dent,
Guinness soup. And Inky was very close after that as well with a mushroom. Everyone. I think it was the go and pick them in the fields that got it. Damn that Jonathan Dent, says Andrew Brooks. Okay, what are the scores on the doors, Mrs. Wiggly?
So we have everybody with 1 point. We have Will Joseph 1 point, Inky the Cat 1 point. We've got Puppy Power,
Yes.
who is Amelia with 1 point, Dean with 1 point, and Jonathan Dent with 1 point.
Fabulous. Are you ready, Loullamae?
Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye, Amelia.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
Amelia. Thanks
Amelia.
ever so much for
Tomorrow.
dropping by. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
She get a point for going.
No.
All right, let's just set that one up again. Are you ready? Here we go.
What did I get for my birthday? Just one of the things.
One thing with a musical bent.
New keyboard.
No, good guess.
Guitar. Gonna start playing the guitar.
No, good guess though.
Bass. Gonna start playing the bass.
Equally good guess. What's left?
Oh, Culture of Ghosts.
Culture of Galaxy Grid Mode. Yes. Where's Oh, he's whizzed off. Culture of Ghosts. My
Culture
goodness.
of
Yes.
Ghosts.
Is that first? He
Yeah.
got it. Well done, sir.
Awesome.
Indeed. Slightly half-hearted noises there. Well done, Culture. Yes, so it's very opportune that you're with us today because there's a question later, I think, to touch your experience and knowledge. Drums, and I don't have a picture to hand actually. But next week we'll show a picture of the drumming.
Got one.
Hang on, let me see.
See if
You'll
you can
have a
bring one
video
up because
clip
we've got the video. She's so good.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try and line up a video. There will be. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Tra-la-la-la. I might be able to hold my phone up. Don't do that, darling, just for a second. Well, there's a picture of her on the drums.
See?
There. Hang on.
There's no head. No.
Not that one? Well, there's no head, look. There you go. On the drums with no head. If I can zoom in on me. Doop. This is the modern way of showing still pictures.
I've got the video of her playing.
Yeah, we'll do a video in a minute. Well done. But yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. It's really, really. It's one of the Roland electronic ones. Really
Awesome.
Cool. Really, really cool. With bouncy pads and all that kind of stuff. So that's really good.
Love it.
Okay. Let's do another one. Is there a couple more? Just have a couple more before the end one. Ready?
What did I name my guy from Guy Fawkes?
Oh yes, the guy. It's Guy Fawkes Night over here. Do you have Guy Fawkes Night in America?
No, it's to do with.
I don't. If we do, I'm not real familiar with it.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
We set off fireworks. Basically, it's commemorating the fact that many, many years ago, a man called Guy Fawkes plotted to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and they caught him with loads of dynamite underneath the Houses of Parliament. And to celebrate the fact that he didn't,
We made a guy out of hay and we threw him in a fire.
Yeah, we burned effigies of him and set off fireworks. Which is really, kind of...
There's no blood involved.
It's a hay person that you dress up with clothes.
Goodness only knows what we'd have done if he'd succeeded, to be fair. This is how you celebrate him not succeeding. So there was that. So basically we make a guy, which is a person, out of a onesie stuffed with straw and stick a face on it.
You don't have to do a onesie, we just use the
It's
onesie.
a genius idea, though.
We
If
use
anyone's
the
going to
onesie.
make a guy use a onesie, you don't have to worry about keeping the trousers up. So it's brilliant. So the question was,
Richard
What
Hilton.
did I name my guy?
what did we call it? What did Loullamae call him? Any thoughts? Uli Beringer, says Waggy. Boris. This is definitely not Googleable. Dom, says Grace Griffin. Donald Trump. Mr. Ewan. Rishi. Waldo. Keith Richards.
Poor Ewan. I like a little Ewan.
Yeah, little Ewan.
It could be a girl or a boy.
It's a
It's not really a name. It's
no, I was going to say it's not a strange word. It is, I don't think anyone's going to get it, but we'll give it until the music finishes.
And I can also say what Ella named hers.
Okay.
Because they go together.
Half God, half beast, says Andrew Brooks. Fred, says Inky the Cat. William Shatner. Bob. All right, I think we've got it.
I named it
Hang on a second. Hang
Moon.
on. Name it.
Moon.
Moon. It was called Moon.
Do you want to know why I named it?
Yes, I would
Moon?
actually.
So, Ella named hers Juice, and I named mine Moon. So they go together and make moon juice. And there was this drink that was really fizzy. It was like strawberry Fanta something. And me and Ella kept drinking it, and we called it moon juice, and we were going to outer space.
Amazing.
don't know
Amazing,
about-
amazing.
I don't know about the moon juice, but you got to watch out for the moon sugar. That's what I've heard on the street.
Moon sugar. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Just-
sugar
I'm
in
just
that
telling
drink.
you. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Yes, moon, not moog. Moon
There'll
juice.
be about 2 people in the chat that get that joke. It's all right.
Talking about made from the mushroom, says Waggy. That's an awesome name, and that deserves, I think, probably a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Loullamae. Happy birthday to you. Here we go.
What type of cake did I have for my birthday?
What type of cake?
I'm gonna be boring and say chocolate cake. There was dis of carrots earlier, so it couldn't be carrot cake, right?
It kind
Carm.
of was
We're talking
chocolate, though, isn't it?
fudge cake, ice cream cake.
How would you word this question, Mrs. Wiggly? Because he should have a point for chocolate, because that was very chocolatey.
Yeah, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't a cake.
Chocolate.
We're talking about the dark fudge cake. That's what we're talking about here, like the lava cake.
He should get 10 points for this. This is a cake connoisseur we're listening to. It wasn't
Hey,
really
last
a
time I
cake.
checked in
wasn't
with cake,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
not really a
delicious.
cake.
It wasn't actually a cake.
It
was
has-
It was
something.
a birthday
was
something.
a
What type
chocolate.
of
We
birthday
talking
something?
fudge pie here?
was
Talking
a
moon pie
cho-
here.
Oh, Ken Lewis, maybe? Oh, but it's not a cake. Not
Well,
a
it
cake.
was. I think he
Cookie
gets
cake,
it. I
yeah.
think Ken
It was a
and Dean should get a point each. It was basically a chocolate cookie cake, they called it.
It was a
didn't
giant cookie.
they? Giant cookie. I'm going to cough. Just 1 second.
Ken, Ken Lewis.
Ken Lewis gets a point for that. Well done,
And
Steph.
Dean gets one as well.
And Dean gets off the mark.
Yeah, Dean gets one. It was a giant cookie. Loullamae didn't want birthday
And there's
cake this
one
year.
more question to come. One more question to come. So,
No, there
Mrs.
isn't.
Wiggly.
There's 2.
Well, no, the last one's kind of a joke, isn't it?
And then
So-
we got quick fire and big questions.
It'll be
in the
over
order.
very soon, though. So, really, Mrs. Wiggly, what are the scores on the doors? Because we're going to see if Dean has a chance of winning here.
Right, okay, well, Dean is actually in the lead at the moment
he?
with 2 points.
Way! This is amazing!
Awesome. So Dean's got 2, Will Joseph 1, Inky's got 1, Amelia had 1, Jonathan Dent had 1, Culture of Ghosts 1, and Ken Lewis 1.
Fantastic. Dr. Synth's chocolate. It was a big. How would you describe it? It was like a layered cookie.
It was a double giant cookie.
that had 2 cookies on top of each other with loads of
It's
icing.
amazing. And it had a lot of that moon sugar. Full of sugar. Inky the cat is accusing Brian Gethsemane Music of cheating. That's a bold statement to make. Half God, half beast, or as I like to have called him every episode until it was pointed out last week, half God, half biscuit. He has to go. I literally have called half God, half beast, half God, half biscuit completely from the beginning of time until Kent mentioned it. So he now calls me Mr. Wobbly, so it's fine, which is fine. All right, the last question. So who's got 1 point? Who can catch up at the moment? Sorry, Mrs. Wiggly, I know you read them
Everyone
out.
apart from Dean has got 1 point.
Okay, all right.
Dean's got 2.
Let's leave it at that then. Here we go.
What did I have for my birthday dinner?
Now this is interesting. What did Loullamae have for her birthday dinner? It's not what you would expect, but it is food. It's well known.
Popsicles and tarts.
No, it's definitely not a typical birthday dinner. Chicken vindaloo, tacos.
Pizza?
Nope.
Pancakes.
No, Rice
Oh,
Krispies.
yeah, we've got 1. Is that point 2?
Point two,
Point
sushi.
2.
Yes. I can't believe he got it. Point 2 got sushi, and he whizzed off up the screen just after he did it. One second.
Sushi.
It was sushi. Where's he gone?
Who's there?
He was there a moment ago. I'm going to have to give you access to
There
push-
he is. He's below Inky.
It's below Inky. I'm not looking at the same screen. Hang on a second. Oh, I can't deny him his moment of glory. Suddenly, about 100
There.
messages came in. Did you see it?
No.
He's at 0755.
Ah, okay. I'm Mo 750. That's a useful one. Okay, just talk amongst yourselves.
Below
We'll cut this out.
Inky.
We'll cut this out in a minute. He's got to get his screen moment. Can you see it, Loullamae? There. Oh, point. You said lasagna. Don't tell. Oh, sushi. There he goes. Yay!
Yay!
That is the wonderful Gazem, a very good friend of both of ours, actually. He's been around for a long, long time. Amazing guy. And it's very, very early in the morning in Tasmania, where he lives, because we are international here. So, do you want to just do the jokey question? Do you think
Yeah.
that would be cool? All right, this is kind of just a jokey one. Let's give it a go.
Why do seagulls fly over the sea?
Why do seagulls fly over the sea?
You got me on this one.
Just until the music ends.
Because they can't walk over it.
I think that deserves a half a point, unless it's
That's
very
not
close.
bad.
That
Come
is
on
not
now.
bad.
Come on now.
Half a
That's
point.
pretty
Half a
good.
point puts them in the
That's
lead
pretty
again.
good.
Got to remember, these are dad jokes.
I think they're very funny. Well, I suppose that's because I'm a
That you're
dad.
a dad.
Music's nearly over. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Because they can't swim. That's pretty good from Waggo as well. You could have a half a point for that. No. No. Gazim got it, did he?
Did he?
Or maybe the last one.
Give it to Richard. Give it to Richard.
Richard Hilton, they long to be close to you. Well, he should have a point because he's Richard Hilton.
All right, he can have a point.
Okay. Hang on, wait for the. What's the answer, sweetheart?
If they flew over bay, there would be bagels.
Yes!
That joke.
Thank you. Thank you.
That joke.
Oh, I'm dying. Wowzers, sorry about that. I was going to die for a moment there. Yeah, if they flew over the bay, they would all be called bagels, of course.
Quick
of course,
fire.
of course. Okay. Right, this one's all about you, Dean. This is the quick fire round. It'll be done and dusted in a couple of minutes. So, are you ready? No stress. We should have a quick fire jingle, shouldn't we, I
Yeah.
think? Let's see if it's
They're
up.
up,
Up,
there.
up. Here we go.
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Red or black?
Black.
Pipe or slippers?
Slippers.
See the future or change the past?
Change the past.
Gold or silver?
Silver.
Boat or plane?
Boat.
Odd or even?
Odd.
Fish or chips?
Chips.
Snow White or Cinderella?
Snow White.
Maths or English?
English.
Badger or baboon?
Badger.
Analog or digital?
Analog.
Very good. Very, very good. Very, very. I'm surprised at the number of people, not you, Dean, that go digital on that. I think digital is very much in the lead on that one. You ready for some logic? We're going to hit you with some logic now. Just
All right,
when you
bring
thought
it
was
on.
over. You ready?
You can't predict your own thoughts because as soon as you try to predict them, you're already thinking.
She's right. She's dead right. Wow. Wow. Okay. Oh no, it's big question time. It's big question time. Okay, this is the last. There are 2 questions remaining. Can you cope with this, Dean?
Sure, bring
What
it
about
on.
music?
Oh, you've got 2 questions. All right, 2 questions from Loullamae.
If olive oil is made out of olives and vegetable oil is made out of vegetables, what's baby oil made out of?
No stress.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't have it. I don't have it.
Oh.
It wasn't a joke either. I just don't have it.
What is it?
What?
Is it babies?
I don't know. It's a
No
big
one
question.
Oh yeah, of course
I
you
don't
wouldn't know the
know.
answer. You wouldn't know the answer because that's why you're asking it. Yeah, of course. So nobody knows. Oh man. Okay.
That's how they get you. They don't want you to know.
I really wanted to know the answer. We'll have another one.
Can you give me some advice as a new drummer?
Ah, now this is more like it.
The thing with drumming is you've just got to embrace that 4 and the 4. I don't really know how else to say it other than that because it's just in me.
How do you explain what a 4 and a 4 is to someone just starting out?
It's for me. It's more just about it's in your head. It's not in your hands. It's just it was built into me. It was a gift that I was given. I didn't learn it. So
Wow.
I have taught others to play the drums, but if it's not in you, there's nothing I can say.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. What do you, in order to, what did you do to bring it out of you? Did you play along to other stuff? Did you just play around? Did you do anything?
I can answer that. I watched another drummer. I watched another drummer like my life depended on it, and but close up, not on video, like in real life. And I saw what he was doing with the hands, and I watched for a very, very long. This is in like junior high school, right? When I'm really trying to get my stuff together, and I'm in the school band, and somebody else can already really do all of the things that I want to do, but I can't do those things yet. And I'm not allowed to play the drums because I'm not as old as this other drummer in the school band, right? And so I spent that first year watching, and I'm not playing. And when it came time for me to be playing, my hands just did what they needed to do.
Wow, that's interesting. So watching
it was already inside. I know that's not very helpful.
No, it is. It's really interesting because I've never experienced drums at all. I could help with keyboards in some ways, but awesome. Thank you, Dean. Mrs. Wiggly claimed that. She may have a big question. Do you have a big question, Mrs. Wiggly?
Well, maybe I should have had Dean's mum there in there because I was going to ask for advice on what to expect when your child wants to play the drums.
Shall I just give you your jingle then and you can ask that?
So, what was it like playing drums at home?
I think honestly, you can expect a lot of tapping, like tapping on everything in the house. Just like there's going to be a lot of tapping. But I think that like specific time that's set out to be on the drums, to where like either. If it bothers you to where you can be doing other things like doing the shopping or just, being patient for maybe that hour of the day kind of thing. A specific time slot that's sort of like slotted out for when, you're allowed to bang on those drums and be loud, I think is definitely really helpful. Like I certainly wasn't allowed to just go get behind the drums like at any time of the day. Like if you get my drift, I would need to ask, permission. Is it okay if I make noise now? That kind of thing.
Right.
And obviously it helps if your parents are supportive, and I was very, very lucky in that, my mother was very, very supportive.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds promising.
Amazing. Well, thank you. I think it's probably time to head to bed in a minute, to be honest, because it's a school day tomorrow.
School night, so
we've hit the 8 o'clock. We can flip to the Zoom camera to see us all in the room. Mrs. Wiggly is kind of behind Loullamae's head. If you wave from where you are, see that little hand just behind the modular? It's a waving modular. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dean. That was absolutely amazing. Big love in the chat, please.
Awesome. And Dean is actually the winner of the quiz.
Oh, I forgot to ask. Absolutely.
He has 2.5 points.
Fantastic. Amazing. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Right, night everyone. See you next week. Bye. Nice
Happy
talking
birthday,
to you, Dean.
Loullamae.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy birthday, Loullamae.
Bye.
Oh,
Right, let's go.
it says poor Mrs. Wiggly stuffed in the corner, says Ken Lewis. Don't know how much space she has over that end of the room.
Now I do.
You do now, everything's cleared
I do
out.
have space now.
Thank you so much. Right, let me clear this. I'm going to put on one of your tracks just so we can take a... Thank you so much for that as well. Well done for winning. Amazing advice. So we can just clear down and have a listen to your tune as well to get that going. There are a whole ton of links as well available in that will be underneath this shortly, but I'm going to paste the web store link for Electronic Sounds just so that you can go and see the patches to start with. If anyone does actually want to go and check those out, we'll put everything else underneath and I'll paste them later. But this is the link to Electronic Sounds for the patches and everything that we were being discussed earlier. There's also a Patreon page, an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, and all sorts of stuff. You do a lot of live streaming as well on YouTube. So
I used to do a bunch more. I'm not really doing so much these days.
Why is that? Did you find too much work or not?
Well,
enough
I mean,
results,
for me personally, I get really nervous before the live streams. I did a live stream every Sunday during 2021, I think it was.
Wow.
Like literally every single Sunday. And it's not always easy for me to come up with like new content. Or like things to teach per se. I mean, I do have a limit to the things that I know, and sort of kind of at the end of it, a lot of it was just like hanging out and making music in real time. But to be honest with you, I make music pretty slowly, like when I'm writing on my own, and I sort of thought that the live streams were maybe getting a little bit, tedious, as I didn't have just an unlimited, fountain of information to share. So I just sort of started winding that down. Now I'm doing it only if I have something like specific to share. I'm not
Wow.
live streaming just to like let's hang out and write some music.
I mean, they were incredible though. They were like day-long streams and stuff.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do like really long streams. Like when I'm writing on my own, when I'm like starting to write a piece, I'll spend like 3, 4, 5 hours on that very first session trying to get the base of what I'm working on to be like as clean and perfect and polished as I can, so that when I come back to it, there's a solid foundation in which to work. Like if I come back to a project that's like doesn't sound very good and isn't mixed or doesn't have like the mojo or whatever, it's really difficult for me to get back into that. So I find that my initial sessions with like starting a project can typically be quite long. And so when I would be writing from scratch on the live streams, a lot of times it would just be me continuing to go and go and go. And if problems came up, I would just try to fight through those problems, the same way that I would do if I was writing on my own here. But I get to a point when I'm writing on my own where it's like that first session has to end sometime. I don't typically finish something in the first session, and that kind of made the YouTube streams a little bit difficult as well for me, because I kind of would have a difficult time maybe judging when it was appropriate to end the session as well, and I just keep going and working because that's what I do. I mean, when I'm on my own in here. Yeah,
I can completely imagine that as well, completely, because completely. You can't abstract the live streams from kind of working in the first place, otherwise you've got nothing done anyway. So wow, I mean, they were amazing though. They were absolutely amazing. I'm really
I got a lot of stuff like shared of the knowledge of things that I do have, and I'm really proud of that. I really wanted to do longer sessions than just 20-minute videos, because you can't get like connectivity and routing and stuff like that. You can't teach those kind of things in like 20 minutes. And I really wanted to teach people like, here's how we set something up. Here's how we start writing something. Here's what the intention is behind it. Here's what the intention is to do like later. Here's some possibilities that we could do with this along the way. I mean, I really just like to try to get people fired up and as enthusiastic about making music as I am. Because this is like what I do. I don't have other hobbies. This is like it for me. I'm just really, really passionate about, what I do.
It's totally catching though as well. And you do. It works. It really does work.
I hope so.
I find you
I hope
inspiration.
so.
I always, even just chatting in messenger groups with you, it's like such an inspiration. Everything is positive. Practical though. It's not like everything's always great. It's just like, but if you work through it, and you give it that positivity.
Yeah, I have problems with the gear as much as everybody else, but you just work through it. That's just exactly it, you know. If something comes up, you just work through that. You take one thing at a time.
Well, let's take a listen to, this is a live jam from February 2022. That it says it was the first take actually. So, and this is another thing you're really good at actually, the live jam stuff.
I
It's
come
just
from that is
insanely
the
good.
thing as a drummer.
Whoops.
You know.
Sorry.
Because before, it's okay. Because before, really before electronica, I was just, drumming in live bands. So I spent a lot of years like performing and trying to do that kind of thing.
Wow. Just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. Okay, so here is your live take. My goodness me. How about that?
Can I just give a shout out to the Hardware Jams Facebook group? That jam was a jam that I did specifically for the Hardware Jams Facebook group, and I just want to say, like, what an inspiration that group has been to me personally. They do a weekly challenge where they give you, like, a little bit of a guideline to get started to do a jam. Hopefully, get some inspiration. And do something, right, and make something, and then you got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make a live performance, a live jam, right? And then on Monday they do a show where they play a live stream where they play back all of those live performances. And it's such a great community where you've got a weekly reason to get inspired, to get off your butt and actually make something. You've got a group of people that are going to hang out together who've all done that same thing on the Monday stream through show. So you've got a whole bunch of like-minded people that just went through what you went through. If you're not used to creating live jams, or if you need help getting your gear sorted, all that good stuff. It's just such a great community, and it's inspired me to get off my butt and do something on several occasions. I definitely suggest checking them out. If you've got hardware of any kind, it doesn't have to be a big room full of gear. If you've got any kind of hardware at all and you like jamming with it, or you want to maybe learn how to get better at jamming with it, check out the Hardware Jams Facebook group. Absolutely.
100%, of which Inky is a prime mover within, but she's always the first person to say there's more than that involved with that. But it's incredible and very, very hard to do as well. Although it really doesn't matter what kind of standard you are. It's literally just you get the idea on the Friday, you make something in over the weekend, exactly as Dean describes, and there's a stream through on Tuesday, on Mondays.
On Mondays. It's such a great community. There's people of all skill levels and people of all, gear levels as well. And it's not a competition. It's not an ego trip. It's just a bunch of like-minded people having fun together. It's really, and encouraging each other, which I think is really important these days.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people in the chat are part of that whole thing as well.
Yeah.
So if you're watching on Twitch, or you're new to the whole thing, or you're watching on Catch Up, pop over there, just search Hardware Jams on Facebook, and that'll take you to where you need to go, and it'll give you all the details of absolutely everything. And it's such a fun thing to do, whether you've just got one box. I did one with just a TR8 and a little synth, or you could have masses of stuff or whatever. The point is, it's live. You don't get the chance to tweak everything. You do it live. It takes 5 minutes, and if you haven't done it in the 5 minutes, I guess you could do it again and again if you wanted to, but that's the point. It's not going to take up your entire day. As long as you've got everything plugged in and you press go, there's no going back and actually kind of producing it. And when I realized, because I'm like, how can you possibly do it? I'm very perfectionist in what I try and do.
I am as well. I do a lot of preparation. I mean, for sure, there's definitely different levels to how people approach these jams. I know some people full on just turn the gear on, literally make a pattern or two, press play, and then hope for the best. I'm a little bit more structured than that, and I need to have maybe 2 or 3 patterns minimum kind of programmed out that I can play around with in the jams. But I think the beauty part is that, when you're actually, doing the performance, you can feel that energy, you know what I mean? Not when you're doing it. I mean, of course you feel it when you're doing it, but I mean when you're watching the other people perform back, there's that underlying kinship, because we all just went through that same thing. You know? It's a lot more difficult than people realize, like setting up a camera, getting the shot, doing all those things. And if you haven't done those things, it all seems like, well, you would just do that. But it's actually a whole lot harder than that. And so even just the fact that we've all kind of gone through that experience sorts bringing that group of people together as well.
100%. Yeah, Inky's right. So the aim is to do it in one take after you've made it. Now that could be exactly as Dean says, switch it on and go. It could be, I'm going to, prepare everything first. The longer jams that get posted in there, which aren't necessarily the ones that you get for the weekend, it's more about finding the parts of the performance which really work, and I misunderstood that in the past with the whole live jam thing. It's like people will listen to something you've made and go, do you know that bit around about 3 minutes in, that was really cooking. And it wasn't the fact that the 2 minutes in you were going, oh, it's all out of time or it's atrocious. The fact is that you're hitting high spots throughout your jam rather than producing this perfect 20 minutes or half an hour or 2 hour experience. So Tony Duncan saying lots of prep. Yeah, I guess
lots of prep for me too. Yep, absolutely. I think I'm probably more heavy on the prep than a lot of people, because I am trying to get it to sound good at the end of the day.
Well, it works.
Thank you.
Grace Griffin, the wonderful Grace Griffin. I love doing hardware jams because of all the perfectionist stuff goes by the wayside and one gets on with creating and having some fun. Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I finally realized that you could be less perfectionist about this whole thing, suddenly it's a weight off your mind. You think, actually, it doesn't matter, just get it out. You still end up being a bit perfectionist, but it just gets out there.
Like, I have a thing where I almost always blow the ending of my jams. Like, I just get nervous and I kind of forget what to do and bungle, and that's kind of like a running joke for me as well. Like, I don't let it get me down, I just find it humorous. I kind of lean into that. Oh, did he get it this time? Oh, all right.
Oh, fantastic. If there are questions for the amazing Dean Daughters, and we are so lucky to have him because with all his streaming going on, he wasn't going to come on for a while. Honestly, he's a busy man. He is brilliant. Please fire away.
I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
With a big queue at the front, if you can, makes it easier to spot. But also, Inky will try and pull them out, and the mods will try and pull them out if we miss them. There's one in from Grid Mode who says, any major tech or hardware advancement that has helped your workflow during your whole career, Dean? That's quite a big one.
See, the thing for me, this is going to be a long answer. So the thing for me is that I started out in the 90s. Because I will get around to that, to answering specifically that. But I started in the 90s, and back then there was no computers. It was hardware only. And so it was like, work your butt off at your crappy, low-paying job and save up for a few months and get that one new piece of gear, learn it while you're saving up for the next piece of gear. And so I was all hardware for like, at least the first 10 years of what I was doing, like hardware sequencers, hardware everything, because there was no computers to do it like we have now. But in the early 2000s, I started getting into doing stuff on computer. And the more I got into doing stuff on the computer, the less I started doing stuff with hardware. And I eventually sold off all of my hardware that I had until I was 100% in the box. And I would say at that time, what really, really changed was the existence of YouTube and the ability to actually just go out, research any little details and parts of the production process that I wanted to do. Again, back in the 90s, there was no internet, and if your friend knew how to do something you didn't know how to do, that was a highly guarded secret. And producers that I was friends with did not share production secrets among each other. So the tool that really opened thing up for me, the tech or hardware advancement, it was freaking YouTube. That was the answer. People suddenly went from clamming up and holding everything back to being famous and well known for sharing the information. And I got on that, and I just learned as much as I could possibly learn for, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, right? And I was just working every day, and as much as I was making, I was also learning. I spent as much time watching more tutorials about how to do the things that I was actually doing than doing it. And I think that's really key these days as well. So many people are like, well, I can write a song, I got my shit together, I know everything I need to know, and they're not watching tutorials, they're not learning about new stuff. I mean, you don't have to have new stuff to make great stuff, but you need to know what you're doing, and you need to always be trying to learn new stuff, right? I mean, I'm not Skrillex, I'm not the guy who's like, I know everything, I just want to learn everything. So for me, it's YouTube. YouTube is the most important thing that's come around to me in the past 20 years. And just the ability to learn it. Just put in the hours and learn it.
It's so true. I mean, I forget. Even when I was doing professional sessions, like literally 5-6 days a week, really top of my game, going out doing that stuff. You never met other programmers because they were all working for other people. You'd never have two programmers coming in.
Right.
So occasionally you'd get to take over someone else's job because it went over the time scales, or someone couldn't finish the job or something. And you'd be able to see what samples they'd use because they'd have had to have left their S1000 rack set up or something, But yeah, there's very little knowledge sharing, and you were very protective of some of the stuff that was there,
And back in those days too, always in the back of my mind, there was always this old school concept that it's okay if you don't know everything, because you'll go into a studio and you'll work with the people who know those things.
Yeah.
But slowly that just sort of went away. And now if you do want to do stuff, you're not going into a studio, and you do need to learn how to do it all yourself. And there's just so much to learn,
And there'll always be someone, but I'm a great believer. I see the budgets are the limiting factors these days. But it is better to get an engineer to engineer. It is better to get a mastering engineer to master stuff.
I say this all the time. These people went to school for years for that. We can't. We're expected to know all of these things now. But back in the day, a mastering engineer, he went to school and he studied just that for not producing, not mixing, not playing saxophone, just mastering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not enough hours in the day for us to learn everything
it's
that
incredible,
we need to
isn't it? I remember when I
know
first
now.
met guy Richard, the mastering engineer. He was the first mastering engineer I ever met, because I'd never been involved in the music business after the tape had left the studio. And then it came out on thing you'd buy it in the shops or whatever. And the master, master, what is that then? And there's this guy in this room with stuff, and he makes it all sound better.
And he'll make your crappy stuff sound great.
better.
So it's okay. It's okay.
It's
But
good.
really,
And I'm like, why'd you do that? I said, it's a great thing, right? And then he said, yeah, but the real thing is that, if we get to do an album, right, you're going to give me 10 songs from various studios. It's my job to make them all sound like the same album to start with. But in the process of doing that, I'm going to make them sound better. And I said, I get
and
it
cohesive.
now.
Yep.
And I was like, but it's not very interesting doing that, is it? And he said, well, I love it. You may think, I think some of your stuff is boring. How can you sit in the studio for 4 nights in a row to make this when I've just, it sounds awful. That's what my job is. So yeah, okay, you got a point, But it is strange. It is strange. And I mean, the AI plugin stuff makes things still sound a bit better. They can always be improved on now.
Yeah,
but it is weird how...
I do use Ozone 9. I do use it maybe I don't know, it depends. If I'm not happy with what I've recorded on whatever I'm doing in a live jam, I will absolutely try to run it through Ozone. I'll use their mastering assistant. I'll see what suggestions it makes. Maybe I can go back to my original mix and make some of those EQ changes,
Yeah, no, it is good. And the 10's just come out. I haven't had a chance to look at it properly.
I haven't either, yeah.
It's that plus, I think. Gaz was saying it's really good. I think he does most of his mastering work using it, I think. But no, it's, I don't know, it's so weird that it used to be Frank Sinatra in one take in a room, because you only had one take, so you had all the orchestra and you just had to have a brilliant singer to get the tune
absolutely.
done. And
the
everything
level
else
of
would be
talent
supported.
needed has definitely changed over the years.
But they were just good at singing, so they had a songwriting team, they had the production, the engineer, the orchestra, the conductor, the arranger, all experts in their own field.
Right here, yes, a team of experts behind that person.
And then it's gradually moved to singer-songwriter, what, you write your own songs, to I made this in my bedroom,
and now you have to promote it too.
Yeah, exactly, and give it away.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, I really identify with anybody who still does this. I know exactly how much time it takes to write music and to put music. I know how much time it takes to try to market your stuff. I know how it's very difficult to get views and plays when a meme of a puppy gets 1,000 likes, right? I understand all of that, okay? And I have a really big, like place in my heart for anybody who still does this. On the live streams, where we're all performing, look at the chat. It's us in the chat, okay?
Yeah.
It's us, okay? We're doing this for each other. We're a big family of people who love this and still do this, okay? I try to get as many new people into our scene as I can by sharing my enthusiasm, but at the end of the day, I think it's a lot of just us doing this for us these days,
Well said. Well said. I mean, what we're seeing in the UK is this emergence of the EMOM nights,
Yes.
which I'm sure is picking up everywhere, which is electronic music open mic. And it's like, take your stuff and go and play for 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
that is bringing outside people in, in the same way that they might go to an open mic singer-songwriter night. And it's getting a real thing. And also the size of these things, your stream, this stream in its own little small way, all of them are... They do share an audience, which is gradually kind of getting bigger, I think.
It's a family, though, too, and that's one of the things that I really love about it. Like, I was really reluctant to sort of change over from, like, I'm a really kind of introverted person, believe it or not, and I have a really hard time being on camera and doing live streams and stuff, but, when I sort of changed all of that and started being more public with the whole YouTube thing, I really feel like it's like a family. It's like it's like a home. You know what I mean? And like I really feel like this is my space. Like my community. I love this community. I love these people.
Yes, it's home. It is really, really home. Okay, there's a whole ton of questions.
Oh, okay.
There's also a poignant one here from Will Joseph. Can Dean tell us a little about his event next Saturday, which is very important to plug and to talk about. So I will grab the flyer for it as well, whilst you tell us a little bit about.
All right.
What's
Yeah.
going
Thanks
on.
for asking, Will. I've been in so many shows now and so many streams with so many other performers, and it just sort of hit me a few months ago, like, why don't I select like some of these really great performers and ask people if they'll do a show with me, and we can put something together, something where it's not a focus on me, it's not a focus on teaching, where it's a focus on the music, and not my music but other people's music. And I really wanted to put something together that was inclusive and I think really representative of the community as well. So it's not just a big sausage fest like it is a lot of the time. I know that's maybe not politically correct to say, but let's be real. We all know that this scene is very male dominated. You know what I mean? So like I went out of my way. I've got female performers that are going to be on the show. This is going to be a really special event. I'm not performing. It's not about me. It's about these other people that I'm bringing to the table to share with everybody else. We're going to do some live prize giveaways during the stream as well. So there's lots of reason. Come for the music, stay for the dope prizes. You might win a free gift certificate to Perfect Circuit, or free sound packs from Electronic Sounds, or like free plugins for your iPad from Eventide, or free plugins for your desktop from Audio Modern. It's going to be an awesome stream. It's going to be a great time. We're just going to be hanging out and listening to some really great music. I can't wait to share these performances with everybody. I've got a lot of them, most of them in already. It's going to be a fantastic show.
It's going to be amazing. Well, big up. That's the best elevator pitch I think I've ever heard. It's going to be brilliant. And I still owe you my track for it as well, which has been on my mind all day.
We got time. We got time.
I know we got time. But I can't keep you waiting. The only thing missing from there is the channel, isn't it? So we need I linked a video on your channel earlier. Let me just go. It's on the Electronic Sounds YouTube channel, right? Yep. Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me just paste that in, so we will get that link directly to the channel, because it's obviously on the same as the video that we showed earlier. And I will pop that in the channel, the chat. So here is the link.
Yeah, it's just Electronic Sounds audio on YouTube.
There you go. So get in there, subscribe.
really excited
Dean
for
already
that
has.
one.
Oh, actually, you're very close to 15,000
Yeah, I'm
subscribers.
really, really close. I'm kind of like subconsciously hoping that maybe we might hit
Wow.
that 15,000 during next week's stream. Like it could
Great.
happen. It could
If
happen.
you haven't subbed, people, we're very good at increasing people's subs, but it does depend on how close you are. Electronic Sounds Audio, yeah, 15k subs would be amazing. So pop on over there, hit the subscribe, hit the notifications button, and do come and have a look at the stream that we were just picking up a moment ago. I'm going to be on it, but loads of better people than me are also going to be on it.
It's going to
there
be
it
a
is.
blast with some really great performers. I can't wait to share with you guys.
Is it your birthday?
No, my birthday was actually last month. I just turned 49. I'm going to try to do something big for my 50th birthday. I don't know. Got to try to plan something for that, I feel.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds great. Also, go and check out while you're there. Consider joining Hardware Jams on Facebook. So go check them out because obviously that's the same kind of group of people. So go check them if you search Hardware Jams on Facebook.
That's the thing, you ask a lot of questions in some of these other, Facebook groups or Facebook communities, and not everyone's real, polite or friendly at all, if you get my drift. But the Hardware Jams community is really just a friendly and supportive community to
So
be in.
positive,
Yeah.
so positive, and also the URL that Piero the Acid Clown runs, Mark Gardner as well. That's another one. So go check them out. In fact, if you go to clownfest.live, that's probably where everything kind of hangs out now for the Clownfest sessions and for the URL as well. So go check them. Let's go and check out some of these questions that have been in. If you've got more. Pop them in the chat. We've done the major tech or hardware, which is YouTube. I think that's a brilliant answer, actually. The fact that you could actually learn from YouTube. I learned about side
Well, that's the
chaining.
thing is that I didn't actually finish that thought
Come on.
because I had mentioned how I had sold off all my hardware and gone to the computer only, but people are looking behind me and going, "What the hell are you talking about?" But see, that's just it. Once I learned all that stuff on YouTube, like really, really got in there. Let's how to use compressors, how to EQ properly, how to get my own mastering going, all that stupid tech stuff that takes so much time to learn. Once I really got a grasp on that stuff that I didn't have to begin with, it gave me a way different approach to the hardware that I wasn't able to bring to it previously. And I was always really, really grateful for that extra bit of learning that I was able to get for free on YouTube to really help me come to grips with my hardware in a way that I wasn't when I was hardware only and didn't know half of these things.
That is, it's brilliant. I mean, absolutely. I learned so much stuff that I'd kind of been bluffing my way through because I bluffed my way into studios originally and kind of learned.
All right,
from that.
yeah, whatever
You
it
just-
takes.
Exactly. You just watch other engineers.
Sure.
You only need to watch something once and it's locked in your head. And you work out what's going on. But things like side chaining.
Yes, huge important things.
Okay, now I see how that can work really neatly on the kick drums and stuff. But and also, subtlety and just loads of stuff. It's very easy to kind of tick the box. Let's put a high pass filter across everything, and then it's blah de blah, bang bang bang, it's all done. But then you realise the mixing is more about creating space rather than it's just all about watching the YouTubes, and there is never the right. There's never one way of doing anything. Don't
That's
just watch
it.
one.
I
And
like
go.
to watch the same concept taught by a few different people. I kind of take what floats to the surface on there and kind of absorb that and just leave the rest because, we're all different, but the information seeps through,
Take your own sprinkle on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, a lighter one from Andrew Brooks. Why the pink patch cable is so cool, but I'd get confused.
Yes, I love this question. And see, the thing is I'm really from the 80s. You know what I'm saying? I'm not young. And around like 1986, 1987, I was really formidable, youth guy. I was like, 12 or something. And I was cruising around the streets of San Francisco in junior high school. That's where I lived in those years. And what was really in San Francisco at that time was frigging neon. Everything was neon. If you were a breakdancer, you had neon yellow laces in your shoes. You had neon hat or something, right? and so like the bicycles, like you go to like look it up, GT Pro Performer. It's hot pink. It's neon pink. This was like the coolest thing ever at that time, and I was really formidable. And I'm like, man, this stuff is cool. Oh man, and so it kind of went away, and I hadn't thought about it for a very long time. And when I started picking out cables to use for Eurorack, and I got a set of those hot pink cables, I was just like taken back to the 80s immediately. And I was like, this makes me feel something. I'm into this. It's pink cables for me. I'm down.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I just
it sort of reminds me where I come from in a weird, geeky way.
I just found a GT Pro Performer.
I used to be
There
really
you go.
into like skateboarding and, bicycle freestyle back in the 80s when I didn't have a bad back. And this was like
that's
the
what you
coolest thing. Like, it was like so hot pink. If you had one of these, man, you could get ladies. You know what I mean? I never had one.
Fantastic. You just touched on about you had to stop drumming because of a back injury.
Yeah,
Was
I
that
mean,
right? That sucks.
drums for me, it spoke to me as a child. I started drumming when I was about 5. I drummed through junior high school. I got in bands in high school and started performing like hard rock bands, like really, doing that thing. Everybody was into Metallica at the time. Nobody gave a crap about alternative music in the town I was living in high school. So I was playing heavy metal drums and really going for it. And I really love playing the drums. I love rhythm. I love everything about it. But over the years, it's like you're just sort of. I mean, I don't mean to say anything negative about drummers, okay? But at the end of the day, you're just sort of, making beats for other people's music, and that kind of, I really wanted to do more of like my own thing per se. And the person that I was making electronic music with at that time, with like a Roland S50 and a Roland TR 505, he started teaching me how to do electronic stuff and how to use that gear. And I was like, this is pulling me like way more than being in a rock band. Is kind of pulling me.
Yeah.
So we just sort of went off on the electronic side of things. I think that's also important too. If you can find even just one friend locally that you can actually get together with like another human being and kind of learn some stuff and experience some stuff together, especially in the beginning, that's really, really helpful. It's a lot different than you going, woo, this is cool, like on your own, when you're like, man, this is great. And someone else is like, yeah, this is cool. You sort of feed off each other and maybe get those, it's different than collabing over the internet, you know what I mean?
100%. We've said kind of that stuff before. In a weird way, in a very positive way, it's also important for someone to go, man, that's whack. Because you can go off on the wrong wrong tick completely.
You do need someone to keep you in check.
Yeah, and your check is that you play it to someone. And you realise, oh man, I went off on the wrong track on that. It's like playing it to the A&R guy or to your girlfriend or to your boyfriend or whatever. You listen to it instantly with a different pair of ears.
With a different pair of ears, completely.
Do you know what? It's really not that good. It's not as good as I thought it was, isn't it? And if you're working together, you can just laugh at each other quite a lot and go, or just go, wait a minute, that all inspires me because you hear that track from so and so, and it speeds everything up a lot. I've
heard a lot of stories about like drum and bass producers from back in like those days, living in the UK and whatnot, like sharing a flat with their buddies and having one set of gear and having kind of like somebody on that gear all day. Like somebody would be on the gear in the morning, somebody would be on the gear at night, somebody would be on the gear over here, but they would all sort of work together as almost like a collective of producers trying to learn from each other. That always sounded like really interesting to me,
Yeah, like a shift. Like in shift. Okay, Tony Duncan, do you have a live show coming? Well, you have the weekend.
Next weekend, we have the big live show coming, absolutely. And Tony's going to be in the show. I'm going to go ahead and just spoil it. Tony's going to be in the show. You guys definitely want to tune in.
Wow. Well,
I've already got Tony's performance in. I've seen it. You guys definitely don't want to miss this show.
Wow. No, cool, because Tony's another, I mean, he's obviously been a guest on here, he's a mod on here as well. his evolution over the last 3 years has just been
Absolutely.
insanely brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where did that come from?
Yeah,
Amazing.
Tony and I are actually in a chat group of friends that push each other on the daily to do better work, to do more work. You know, we bounce our work off of each other's. We're not necessarily collabing all the time, but we're always bouncing ideas off of each other. And again, keeping each other in check, like you just said.
Yeah, no, it's working. It's working. Well, fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that.
It's really great to watch the journey of somebody else as well. If you can't get happy for like somebody else doing well, like you got to rewind and like check that theory. Because like, you know what I'm saying? It's awesome to watch other people get better as well.
With Tony,
especially if you're on the same team.
Yeah. I think it was a switch to from hardware into Ableton, I think.
Yeah,
really.
he was an iPad producer when I met him.
Yeah.
And now he's an Ableton producer and just popping out some amazing quality stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he met the vocalist. And no, check him out. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
What's the name of the band that
he's in a band called Electronaut, and he also does a solo project, which is Rancid Poets.
It's Rancid
Yeah,
Poets that I've heard a
Rancid
lot
Poets,
of
definitely.
through the URL stuff, actually. Yeah, brilliant, Tony. Thank you for that. Rabid Bat, what's your desert island setup? 3 or 4 pieces of gear.
I would say like these. A year ago, before I got to play, I would have said it's the Digitact, and I still love the Digitact. Don't get me wrong, the Digitact is fantastic, but it has so much in common with the Play in that they're both 8-track machines. They'll play 8 tracks of samples. You can put more than one sample on the same track, just like. Both machines have that, and both machines have an external 8 tracks of MIDI out to control your other gear. I'm just finding the Play to be a little bit more sort of intuitive to work with because it's like on the screen in front of you, like the Deluge is. It's like one click less menu divey rather than the Digitact is.
Yeah.
So it's that one tiny click more immediacy when I'm working with the Play.
Wow.
So right now, I would say the Play, and if I got to take 2 things, it'd probably be the Play, the Digitact, and all my samples. My sample catalog.
What about synth? Little mono synth or a little synthy thing, or is it all sample based now? I mean,
see, that's the thing is that I love synths, but I love synths to sample them and put them in a sampler. Really, I mean,
that's fine.
One of the reasons why that workflow is because back in the day when I was all gear and it was all just a room full of gear. It was all being controlled by like one MIDI sequencer, and you had to turn everything on if you wanted to do anything, and if you wanted to do another project, you had to break everything down. And I got a sampler back in the 90s, brand new. It had just come out from Yamaha, the Yamaha SU700, and by today's standards, it's like so bad of a sampler that it's like unusable. It basically makes one long pattern, and you can kind of mute and unmute tracks if you want. But
right.
That sort of was pretty much the workflow we were using back then with the gear, just unmuting and muting things. So I started recording everything in to that one box, and then I was suddenly producing instead of just working with a whole room full of gear all the time. And so that really stuck with me. I think that's how a lot of people are using Ableton, with the hardware, just recording little bits here and there and, putting them in. But yeah, if I had to pick my favorite synthesizer, that's easy. It's the Virus Darkstar. It does anything I want it to do, and it just sounds amazing. I also have a Hydra synth back here, though, that is just ridiculously magical. And I did pre-order the new Arturia Mini Freak, which I'm really excited to get a hold of because I don't have the Micro Freak, so I don't have any experience with that at all yet. So that'll be totally new to me.
It's meant to be. Everything I've heard about it is lovely. It's a great size. Mini keys, but I don't really care about that.
I have small hands. I'm not worried about the mini keys.
Exactly.
When I started hearing the presets of the Mini Freak from the Loop Op demo, I didn't get through very many before I'm like, I just want to use those sounds. I just want to use those sounds. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, if you got big master keyboard, lots of octaves, big keys. perfect, but small
Yeah.
one, you know, you're only going to play little chords and stuff. And yeah, I agree. What a lovely sounding thing.
Sure.
Going to be a massive success, I think, that one.
I think so too,
Good.
yeah.
Really, really good. So that was Rabid Bat. Hopefully that answers your question. On the Poly N Play front, have there been an update software-wise recently?
Okay, check this though, because I could talk about this thing forever, but seriously, check this out, okay? Because this is I don't have another box that got this kind of an update. It's really cool that most of the boxes I have are getting updates. That's nothing like the 90s when there was no updates for anything. And if there was, you had to buy a new chip. There's certainly no downloading, right? But the Poly End Play, in their brand new update, it can now render your track out. You can render the stems and it can render the sample. Now, some people may say, well, who cares? But imagine if you had a box that didn't render anything, right? And the only way you could get stuff out of it was literally plugging in some audio cables and recording those in. And then suddenly that box allowed you to render something in 100% pristine accuracy, including the individual track stems. So you can write that's one of the things I love about this. Each one of these little buttons can be a pattern, and all I have to do is put the patterns in order and it will just play the patterns in order. There's no song mode, there's no extra menus, there's no bullshit. It's just put the patterns in order and press shift and play, and it plays them in order. So if you have a whole song in order, you can render the whole song out. Stems now. 8 stems come right.
So that
stereo,
is the beginning of your
stereo stems.
Oh, cool! Because it was mono to start
You
with.
can look.
Wow.
The samples you put in it are still mono,
Right.
But the stems that come out, full stereo. So that's a huge increased functionality.
Yeah.
Write a whole song in it,
Yeah.
and then load that whole song with the individual
Yeah.
tracks into Ableton in like one click. That's magic.
And that's the beginning of your production. That's not one of those let's sit down and make the track properly kind of thing,
Right.
which is so true from a lot of other boxes. Like, yeah, great jam. Now we're going to start recreating it or sampling it bit by bit or whatever. This is you're getting it all that. Wow. Wow.
So yeah, if you've got like 20 samples on each track, it's going to render everything. I tried it. It works. I mean, I tested it and everything. It's dope.
Brilliant. Oh, I love Grace Griffin. One Lyra 8, one Mahusive power amplifier, and a pair of waterproof speakers. Summon a school of whales or dolphins to take me back to civilization. That is true. There's a lot you can do with a Lyra 8 in terms of whales. Anyway, how fantastic. There's a huge amount of people in the chat asking the same question. And I think the first mention of it came from Inky, but it's so many people are asking, like, what a positive guy. Fantastic.
All right, well, let's can we get real for a minute? I know you get real on Wednesdays. This is Sunday. True. You know.
That's fine. It was real. It's after the child zone as well. You can get as real as you like.
But yeah, I mean, I'm actually a manic depressive person. I'm actually a really down person, and I'm really hard on myself, like all the time. And I sort of got, I don't know, I started drinking at an early age, and I found a lot of comfort in drinking, you know. And then back in like 2003 rather, like my father and my stepmother, I lost them both at the same time in a plane crash. My dad was a pilot, and he had his own plane. That was like his passion, you know, like how music is my passion. That was his passion. And so they passed together in a plane crash, which kind of affected me, you know, pretty hard. I don't want to use that as like a crutch to say, you know, I started drinking more heavily at that time. But I started drinking more heavily at that time, you know. Electronic Sounds, you know, was going pretty badly for those years and whatnot. I was really struggling, just living in various apartments, trying to pay the rent and whatnot. I don't know, it was maybe like 5 years or so after my father passed. I was like absolutely like a full-fledged all-day alcoholic drinker. I was, you know, drinking like all day, every day, like heavy drinking, like just vodka from the bottle. I mean, just drinking. That was how I sort of managed my life at that time. And I wasn't really making any money, and I wasn't really getting any sales at Electronic Sounds, and the internet was new, sort of, when I was trying to figure out, how I could sort of change my workflows and sort of take advantage of this. And what I found while exploring the internet in those days was I found, for the first time, the illegal download scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out where my stuff had been going for the past 15 fucking years. Basically, into the pockets of the illegal downloaders. And I found one website in particular which listed how many times my products had been downloaded. And this was one website out of hundreds of illegal download websites had these numbers, and they had every single product that I had ever released, including products that even at that time were so old that I had discontinued them. And we're not selling them. We're embarrassed of them. My early work, this is shit. Don't buy this. And so everything I had ever made ever was on this website for illegal download. And I started, I lost my mind because I didn't know of this kind of thing existing. This was back in very late 90s, early 2000s. And I started doing some math to these download numbers as to how much money I would have made maybe if these were sales. Now, at that time, I wasn't really making a lot of sales of my own, and most of my sales were coming from third-party distributors who were giving me 50% of the sales or whatnot. So I was really low, measuring how much potential income I'm not making here, right?
Yeah.
And I literally got to $45 million worth of illegal downloads on this one website alone. And there are literally hundreds of illegal download websites. And I kind of lost my mind because I really wasn't making sales, and I couldn't pay the bills, and I couldn't pay my rent, and we were on food stamps, and it was pretty rough, And so
absolutely. A couple of people, just saying that that they wouldn't convert into sales. Of course they wouldn't be £45 million of the sales, but they would have been substantial.
Of course not. I would have taken a couple of $1,000s in those days of extra sales.
Yeah,
and so that sort of pushed me over the edge into a really dark place, and I just I was just drinking and working and just putting the days together, but really being horrible human being to myself at that time. And I was an alcoholic, just really awful, just lost all hope basically by the end of all of that. By the end of that sort of chapter in my life, I was, and I'll admit this here, I don't have anything to hide per se, but I was literally just dying in the guest bedroom of the house that we were living in. I wasn't working and I wasn't doing anything. I was just slowly dying, and I had given up on everything at that time. I honestly don't know what it was inside me at that time that made me pull out of that sort of existence. I think it was, watching, the effect that it was having on my wife, who at that time was also, an alcoholic. Let's be real, you're not married and being an alcoholic on your own most of the time, but it was having a really big effect on her, and she didn't know whether I was going to be alive when she would come home, and it was really, 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 really dark is what I'm trying to say. But somehow I found something inside of me that said you need to go on, and I wasn't going to go on if I kept up that for much longer. And I sort of realized that that there wasn't anything coming to save me, and that I was just going to die alone in this room if I didn't do something. And I really had an epiphany that that I needed to stay here, and I needed to change, and I needed to change who I was and the way that I was looking at the world. And so I actually, I was 44 years old at that time. I asked my mom for help. I said, I'm not going to make it. I need help. You know, will you help me? I reached out, and I was really lucky. And my mom said, yes, you can just come stay with me, and I will help you. And it was that change of environment, you know. And let's be real, you know. You're a 44-year-old man, you know, staying with your mom, just really messed up, you know. And it's either this or nothing. And I took it, you know. I took that chance. I took that second chance. I started going to meetings, and I met with people who were exactly like me, who had the exact issues that I had. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't just a room of alcoholics talking about being alcoholics. It was something else, and a really powerful thing to meet other people who were as hopeless as you are, and they're telling you, you know, you stick to this, and you will get better, and you can change, and your brain will change, and you can find hope again. You know, when you don't have any, and there's just nowhere to pull even a straw of hope, you know, and there's people who you really are identifying with, and they tell you that you can get through. All you've got to do is just stick with it. You know, it took me 11 times to get sober. It took me 11 tries. I went to rehabs. I went to hospitals. I went to detox centers. I was a real alcoholic. I'm still a real alcoholic. But I'm a sober alcoholic, and I haven't had a drink in over 8 years. And I took that as a refresh, you know, lease on life. And I took that energy that I got back from getting sober, and I poured it into electronic sounds with everything that I have, because this is the only thing at the end of the day that meant anything to me enough to keep going. This is who I am. I can't really breathe right if I don't do this, and that's not small talk. This is who I am. This isn't what I like to do. This is who I am. And I get up every day, and I do this all day long until my wife comes home from work. I spend some time with her, and she goes to bed, and I come back in here and I work some more. And that's what we do, and that's how I get through. And I'm so grateful that I'm not that guy who's dead in the guest bedroom. I'm so grateful that I have a life, and that I have a wife, and that I have a home, and that I have a place to be me and do what it is that I need to do. And I find, you know, I'm grateful every day, all day, for the things that I have. I'm so grateful for where I am, and for what it's taken me to get here. And all I really want is for no one to feel like I feel. And so I try to bring a different light to the table. And I hope that people, you know, can take that energy and, you know, maybe find a better smile for their day, you know, because there was so many days that's what I needed. And that's why when people say I'm like the happiest guy and the most positive guy, it's because I don't have any other choice. Because the only other choice for me was dying in the guest bedroom as an alcoholic. Wow. I've come a long way from there, so you really have to change who you are. You have to change your way of thinking. And so I try to project that, because it is possible. It's so possible to be a happy human being with the goals and reasons to get up in the morning. You can go from just nothing to this. You can do it, you know. I am fucking happy. You know.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's hard. I didn't put anything else up from the chat whilst you were talking. There is so many messages of what the effect you have on others, and in general, just so much positivity, so much respect, and from people doing it, but so much of like, you know, you make a difference to my life, and this attitude and your positivity. Obviously, there's some in the chat that are aware of your background like that, and the difference that you're making every day to them is huge as well. You should go back through and check them after the stream. It's just incredible. But I would never have, I knew some of your background because we've known each other for so long, but I didn't know it got to the depth that you've just described, and that it was so close to just ending. I mean, what a thing to be able to come back from. And to be fair, you know, this is a matter of years to go from absolute rock bottom to
Yes,
what I
it's
see
a lot
as
of years. It's been about 8 or 9 years for me to get to this place.
absolutely stunning. What an amazing recovery and an amazing strength that you have within you to put it out. It's just incredible to see. I really thank you so much for coming on and
Thanks
speaking
for having
like
me,
that.
sure.
But honestly, that's just amazing for people to go, where'd you get, why are you so positive, you know? And then you realize behind the positivity is this amazing recovery, this amazing depth to which you've dropped into.
It's only so bright. It's only so bright here because I know how dark it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. How's your wife?
Fantastic, working as hard as ever. We just grind. That's all we're doing right now. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and I love what I do. And I'm just so grateful every day that I get the opportunity to do this. You know, and so
absolutely.
This is what I'm meant to do. I know so many people who don't get that opportunity to do what they are meant to do. And so to be anything other than grateful at this point would be ridiculous.
Absolutely. But you've turned it into a success as well, which is, you know, a lot of people meant to do stuff.
I'm willing to
you've
put
managed
in the work.
you know.
I'm willing to put in the hours. I'm not afraid of, 18-hour days, to get here.
That's the other side of piracy, actually.
People don't know what it
realize.
takes. They have no idea what it takes. No idea what it takes.
Wow. Thank you so much. What an amazing human being. And to share stuff like that here is just incredible. Thank you.
That's one of the
Absolutely.
only ways that you can be content with yourself. You have to let that ego go. You have to let it go. You have to let it go. It's not none of this is a competition. I don't consider, I used to feel it all a competition. And when I'm not better than other people, I used to feel bad. I'm not better than other people now. People make music that blows my shit away. And I love it. And I eat that up. That's inspiration. If you can't get off from somebody else just rocking it and doing awesome, then I feel super bad for you. You know what I mean? It's not
there
a
is
competition.
no positivity
it's
to
not
come out
a
of that.
competition.
There will always be people way ahead, you know. There will always be 14-year-old kids with laptops making
Who are
better kick
blowing
drums
away
than
our
you.
mix downs.
Exactly. Or making better kick drums or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because they
Yes.
don't care. They just, great, you know. That was a shock when I was doing sessions. I was like, oh, okay. I'm growing up. Oh, thank you. I think other questions simply pale into
I'm happy to
insignificance
answer
at
any
this
questions.
stage. Any more questions in the chat? Please go for it. I mean, they're just full of love and adoration at the moment, and marriage proposals from what I can see. It's married. I think it only fair, if this is possibly the last one, you don't have to go into absolutely everything, but a very broad question from Keith in Watford, who's an amazing guy. What pieces of kit has Dean got scattered about the room, including the modular?
The thing with me is that I'm so disorganized. I really have to fight to be organized. And I as a sound designer, I feel bad sometimes about the amount of gear that I have in here. I feel like people look at me and go, and maybe go, oh, I don't have all that stuff. I'm not up to, none of that's relevant. I make music sometimes on just an iPad, but as a sound designer and as someone who's selling sounds for a living, I need a lot of ways to make sounds in here. I mean, I make a lot of sounds, okay? My sound bank for this has 12,000 sounds in it. I need a lot of sounds and ways to make sounds, okay? But yeah, so I'm really into the Eurorack, and I've been having a blast checking that out on this side.
That's it?
On this side over here, there's like more Euro rack, right? There's like more
Wow.
digitacs in here. I have 2 digitacs. I have 2 model samples so that I can make the sound banks for those and make sure they load into another one and do all of that checking. I've got synthesizers tucked away. I've got the Poly and Medusa tucked away. The Electron, the Novation Ultra Nova tucked away. Lots of Roland gear tucked away, like the MC707 and the TR8S. I would love to have done like big banks of sounds for those as well, but they don't really load samples the same super easy way that a lot of these other boxes do, and they have limited capacity on which you can load the samples into them. You know, all that stuff. I just got a Moog DFAM, my first Moog to start making some sounds with. I'm about to do a sound bank for the 1010 black box. This is very next on the list. I'm also about to pick up a 1010 lemon drop to do banks for.
The granular. Is that
but
the
see,
granular one?
that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't really understand when they see like me and this room full of gear and like, oh, like you need all that. You don't need all this stuff. I can write, music in the box with none of this stuff. I mean, hardware, software, who cares? It doesn't. iPad. I mean, it's 4-track recorder. I don't care. It's just music. I just need stuff to record, to make sounds with. Over here, I've got older quasi MIDI gear. I've got a Roland SP303 to do some extra, custom lo-fi samples, more Eurorack gear, the Poly and Tracker. I just picked up the Native Instruments Machine Plus a few months ago. Tollman had some sort of crazy sale for people in the U.S. only, and it's supposed to be like, I don't know, $1,250, $1,300. I picked it up for like $800. Wow. It doesn't need a computer. So, I mean, all that kind of stuff. I got another shelf full of little, gear, more sequencers and stuff hidden in the closet. But, I mean, really, most of this stuff is for fun and for recording sounds out of. Like, if I was just making music only and not doing, the electronic sound side of thing, I would most likely still be in the box only and have no hardware gear at all, to be honest.
Interesting. But 12,000 sounds in the box is hard work.
I don't claim any one workflow to be the best. I mean, I just love messing with the gear, This is really what I'm supposed to be doing, I mean.
Yeah. Do you just run a recorder and tweak through kick drums and stuff?
Sometimes, but I mean, when it comes to designing the sounds, I usually will. Surprisingly, I do at least 90% of my sound design work in the box, and I'm using Ableton, and I'm usually setting up complicated systems in Ableton that will spit out new random sounds. Like I'll put in systems to create new random kick drums, but maybe 1 out of 5 sounds good. I don't care because I'm happy to spend all day going through the results and picking the good ones. Sometimes I do stuff exactly from scratch, but a lot of times I'm combining the stuff that I've made from scratch with weird other systems that create things randomly. So it's just, I can't do this enough, when you really need to make thousands and thousands of sounds, the lengths you have to go to get new sounds,
Wow. Awesome. Let's do. Are you okay for time? You because we're way over. This is the best I think we've ever had.
I'm okay for time. I mean,
it won't be much longer, I'm sure. But Cresshead, here's a quick one. Favorite BPM?
Ooh, maybe, I know people might think it's maybe slower because I'm really into that dub techno, but if I maybe had to pick a favorite BPM, I'd say probably 150 and halftime, writing 150 halftime. That sort of half, not that traditional dubstep 140, but just a little faster and a halftime. That's probably my favorite.
Well, double time it, and you get into Pierre the Acid Clowns region, so he'll be happy about that. Any synth you don't get on with?
The Octatrack was something I didn't get on with. I had that for a little bit of time, but then NASA called, and they wanted their alien tech back. And what are you going to do, I didn't gel with it at all. Another one was a little a synthesizer, the Model Sculpt. I actually backed that
Okay.
a few years ago on Kickstarter, and I got 2 of them. But then when it showed up, I didn't gel with it at all. Felt kind of silly for backing that in the first place. But yeah, the model sculpt. I think there was, I want to say something else, but I can't think of what it is. But yeah, most of the things I really do gel with because I'm a nerd and a geek, and yeah, if it does what it says on the tin, I'm pretty much about it. I had some frustration getting into the Poly tracker when it first came out because it was full of a lot of bugs and glitches.
Right.
But they've kind of fixed all that stuff over the years, and now I don't really have those problems with it.
Nice.
I didn't sell it. I hung on to that one, which was definitely
I think that's
a good
poly-end,
thing.
isn't it? You just know that it's not quite complete, but they're going to deliver it.
But
I
they're
think
gonna
that's the
get
point.
there.
They're
Yeah.
not going to not get there. It's just like, okay, yeah, I'm confident in this
And
one.
especially now with the Play, I mean, this new update with the Play, giving like wave export and stuff. This is stuff that was never advertised or promised, or I mean, I would never have expected that to even come to this box. So so Polyend are on it these days for
They
sure.
really
Yeah,
are. They really, really are.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people saying, "Oh, you mentioned the chat group where you and Tony hang out." I think if people want to join that,
it's actually a private chat with just a few people, and we talk about everything, like real life stuff, not just music stuff. And like, I mean, I'll be real, I'm not really getting out of the house hardly at all because I really just like to stay home and work, if you get my drift. So to have something like that, I think is really important. Everybody needs friends, we all need something. And if you can't have that necessarily like in the real world, to have that in chat is definitely the next best thing. So yeah, it's not like a public chat group, but just a private chat group where a
friends.
few of us can talk about like literally the inner workings of our life. If you're having a bad day, sometimes you got to have someone to express that to as well. Or if you're having a bad mix down and you just can't get your shit to hit right and you need some advice, having people to bounce stuff off, it just that don't mind, that it's not a hassle, it's not some public thing. Just you got to have at least something that you know what I mean.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Hit up your friend and just say,
Yeah.
let's just open a group instead of me texting you every now and then.
For
We'll leave
real.
it open, and then you get the
get 2 or
history
3
there.
people
and-
in that group,
yeah.
you'd be surprised how much you can really
Yeah.
feed off each other
Yeah.
creatively and encourage each other. And the people that I'm in this group with, we watch each other grow over the years. And they're doing things that literally I thought they would never get to. It's only been a few years. And you keep pushing your friends, you'll be surprised at what they can get up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what it's
Yeah.
about, man. Being happy for your friends, doing good. Fuck yeah.
And they're all part of the same thing as well. That's all pushing a
Exactly.
little bit and just picking you up when you're down, or just giving you
Yes.
perspective, or telling you to walk away, or telling you all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And yeah, a lot of us, I could guarantee a lot of people in the chat don't get out that much. I think that's just the nature
Yeah.
of the group that we kind of are. So
I think so, too. Yeah, for sure.
Inky, what's on your wish list? What isn't there at the moment?
Well, I mean, seriously, I want to say like the Erica Sense Percons is on my wish list, but it's really
Yeah.
not because it's on pre-order and I'm just waiting on it. The thing is like, a lot of people just look at the amount of gear I have and just it blows their minds. But look, I want to be real for a minute, with the amount of gear. Like everything that shows up is just hours of learning. It's not glamorous like it seems out to be. Like, to be honest with you, I feel bad for these big YouTubers because I know exactly how much time it takes to learn a new piece of gear and then share it. I've done it on my channel tons of times. I'll learn the play. 2 weeks later, I did a fucking 3-hour stream with this bad boy. I know how much time it takes to learn the new gear and to try to teach somebody new gear. And it takes a lot of time. And we're not in here just writing and having fun. I'm learning and struggling, and there's swearing and there's frustration, over and over and over again. We put ourselves through this. Not like somebody who like learns their set of kit and then goes, okay, I'm good. I'm envious of that person because they don't have to constantly be learning more and more and more. I literally spend as much time learning new stuff in here as I do making stuff.
Wow. You're right, actually. I don't know how Loopop gets those things out.
I don't
And they're
either.
literally
And he's
within seconds.
just flawless at it, just amazing at it with the information.
It is a great. Even Nick Back was saying, I don't know how he does this.
I have a big loop-op like jealousy thing going on. He's like, you know, like way up
too.
here.
He's yeah, on a scale of
Yeah.
0 to Adele or whatever. It's really 0 to loop hop, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
that's the
0 to
scale of it.
loop-op. There you go.
Oh man, this is just incredible. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah,
It's just
sure.
absolutely brilliant. Really good question from Lady Aptitude. Who are some of your musical
You know, this
influences
is a question
and
that
heroes?
that will really surprise a lot of people because it's not going to be a lot of electronic music influences. Like my earliest influences are like you know, European rock bands like the Thompson Twins and stuff like that from the 80s. I can't like I really remember like being and listening to drummers, I guess is what I'm about to say. It's like the woman from the Thompson Twins, Alana Curry, she was a percussionist, and she's always, you know, with these timbali fills,
Yes.
all
Yeah, I
these
remember
really
that.
cool like accents and rhythms and like I consider her like a drummer, you know, and like
Yeah.
growing up listening to bands like the Police and drummers like Stuart Copeland, and then Sting went on to do like solo stuff and
Yeah.
with drummers like Omar Hakim, and I'm just like, oh my god, I love Dave Matthews Band. I like Dave Matthews Band acoustic with like no drums, right? Dave Matthews Band and Tim Reynolds live from fucking New York City, man. All that kind of stuff. My biggest, you know, influences from back in the day are people like Billy Bragg playing acoustic stuff.
Okay, cool.
Bands like my favorite bands like I don't listen to new material, and I'm really gonna date myself with all of this, but I don't care. I like the, you know, bands from the '90s like the Wonder stuff, like Ned's
Yeah.
Atomic Dustbin, like the Charlatans UK, back when like music was fucking awesome.
The
like
Manchester
when
stuff.
electronica was Manchester,
Yeah.
bring it on. Electronic bands like Apollo 440, like Underworld is like my biggest,
Yes.
you know, like I went to a concert here in California in 1996. It was called Organic 96. And I saw Underworld perform live for the first time, and my brain shifted. I understood electronic music like I never did before. 1996, that was my year. It just blew my mind. And it was seeing them live in the context of that day. It was like Moby, Loop Guru, I don't know, like 20 some odd acts or whatever. Chemical Brothers that day. But Underworld took the stage, and it was just like magic. And like I got four on the floor music in a way that I had never got it before. It just like
Yeah.
I just got it. It wasn't like, oh, I like this, but it was like I understood what was happening. You listen to those riffs that Rick is putting down, okay, and like there's the subtle things like you're listening to, like, okay, we're gonna go 3 bars, and then there's a change up. Why the hell am I not putting a change up on that 4th bar? You know, things like I
Yes.
studied under Rick Smith, okay, like I really am like Underworld, okay. I've seen them live now like 5 times over the years. Yeah, so I mean, that's my, you know, electronic influence, biggest for sure, Underworld. But all my other influences are like Manchester bands, acoustic bands, Toad the Wet Sprocket. I mean, you know, yeah,
Wow.
not electronic music at all.
I mean, you turned me on to Underworld. I was always an Underworld fan,
Just-
but I'd kind of not listened to them for ages. And I think
Yeah.
it was you posting something about them, about
I
a
just-
tune or
oh.
something that had come out, and I was like, oh God, yeah, I used to love them. And it just, for some reason, they'd fallen off my radar. And since
See,
then,
I'm like,
oh.
I mean, like, I used to listen to them when they weren't Underworld. They were still Underworld, but they were a pop band, and I
Yeah.
love that stuff. Everybody who loves the techno stuff now is like, oh my god, they get to be this crappy pop band. They were actually a techno pop band before that called
Yeah.
Frewer. And they had a really
Oh,
big
were
song
they-
called
were they- was it
Doot.
Frewer or
Doot.
Frewer, wasn't it?
Anybody remember Doot Doot? Yeah, we
Yeah,
go Doot.
yeah.
We go Doot Doot. That's friggin'
that them?
Underworld. I've been listening to them since like the early 80s,
My
before they
word.
were Underworld. Yeah.
My word. Crikey, I didn't know that.
That's
My
why they have
goodness.
such cool lyrics and stuff in their music now.
Wow.
Because Carl was a pop lyricist from back in the day. Dub no bass with my
Wow.
head, man. Yes, that's what I'm
That's
talking
it.
about.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
it on.
where I
Life-changing
was.
album.
Yeah,
Life-changing album for me.
completely.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just fell off again, and it was like, what happened to those guys? And I realized I'd missed out on
Their
this
second
whole
album.
thing.
Their second album is like pretty much like the seminal electronic album for me. Second toughest in the
That's right.
Infants.
That's right. Yeah.
Ooh, just magic stuff on there. I could just put that on repeat, go about my life, you know. This I used to call Underworld the soundtrack to my life.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow, second toughest in the infants, amazing. Boku Fish as well. Yeah, Boku Fish.
Yeah,
on
Buku
Fridays.
Fish. We're talking about stuff like Bruce Lee on that album.
Yeah,
I used to want to
yeah.
cover that song.
Piero saying they went
I have
commercial.
vocal like desires from back in the day, but I'm not a vocalist.
No, just good. There's there's a depth there, which is
Yeah.
insanely good.
Absolutely.
Insanely good. Okay, I promise I won't keep you for very much longer. There's still a few pouring in, but Andrew Brooks needs a hug, so everyone give Andrew Brooks a hug. Thank you so much for being a part of this this whole group. As the head, we'll set up a private chat. Let's do something like that. Get a weekly chat going.
Not
Just,
tied to a show, exactly.
No,
Just
exactly.
something where you can hang out. Just if you've got a few people that you can literally just trust with your stuff, and you can talk about some of those feelings sometimes that you need to talk about with somebody who knows you on that level.
And
It's
trust.
really important.
Absolutely. Grid Mode is admiring your studio tan. They guess
Oh
that you
yeah,
won't be getting out that
it's
much.
on point. The Studio 10 is definitely on point.
Okay, last chat question for the stream. Do you like any old MIDI controllers or weird stuff? I'm quite interested in any drum controller type stuff, actually.
My experience is that I really love drumming on drum pads, but I like to drum melodic sounds on drum pads because people don't really expect that, and I just find it's a fun way. Like when you get out those sticks and you're hitting the pad, people are expecting you to do that timbali stuff and whatever. Exactly. And if you can use it for like vibes or something melodic, I really think that's awesome at the end of the day. However, I haven't found a drum pad that I think is really dope. They just tend to wear out really fast, and the triggers don't trigger reliably. I have the most expensive one, like the Roland SX Pro. It's so good, and it's not. I mean, one of the pads, like it pretty much came like in. You have to really just. And that kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it, and if you don't have any subtlety. So I actually have 3, drum pads now, but I wouldn't recommend any of the ones that I have to anyone else, really. And all the reviews that I've read of like the new alias ones and stuff like that all say the same thing. So at the end of the day, those drum pads, I don't know.
Morgan says, I didn't know there was a Carlsbro kit. Have you tried the Carlsbro kit? Didn't know they had one. I know they do amps. But...
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay,
I do really like the Novation SL MK3 MIDI controller for for hardware. If you're really used to writing in a DAW with lots of automation lines, using something like that, I kind of feel like is writing music in a dark closet with a blindfold on. But if you can kind of get past that, it's really awesome for for live performing and for live jamming and stuff.
Wow. Okay, the last question I promised from me. What does the future hold in the next couple of years? Where are you hoping to
To be
head
honest with you, I hope it just holds more of the same. I just want to keep doing this. This is what I'm meant to do, and I feel like I've kind of hit my stride with it. I've actually, got on some people's radar with my work, and I've done a lot of work over the last few years with outside companies, and I'm really enjoying that as well. I just want to keep this up. I just want to do more of this. I just want to get more boxes and put sounds into them that make people inspired to make their own music. I figure, when I started, and you mentioned to say the average stranger, this is what I do. I'm into making music, They could understand that and identify with that. And a lot of people were like, yeah, cool, man, I'm check that out, whatever. But now people are into video games and social media, and they're just not into making music or listening to music or, so I'm really just trying to keep as many people interested in making music, living music like I do, and just wanting to be a part of music still.
What a great way to end. You've been the best guest ever, I think.
Aw.
I mean, you are amazing. You're an amazing person, but honestly, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thanks
on,
for having me. I really appreciate it.
for sharing the good and the bad.
Please,
there's
everybody,
so
come
much
join me
love.
again next Saturday, where we're going to do a live show. Just be having fun, listening to music like we've been talking about.
No
Just
one's
having
going to miss
fun
it.
and
Everyone
just
is
having
gonna be
fun
there
in the
now.
chat.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. There's huge love and respect. Big up in the chat, please. Loads of hearts and love in the chat for the amazing Dean Daughters and Electronic Sounds. Underneath this stream, I will put all of the links. Just before you go, hit him up on. I'll just paste them all in. Why not? And then at least they're here in the chat for people who want to go and do it. Let's see if this works. There are every single link I think you need. Let's see. Yes, I think it worked. Got the web store, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter. So hit yourself up. I will put those underneath this stream for anyone who's coming back after the show. And really, I mean, just, amazing. Thank you so much. Best of luck in the future with the sounds. I think gonna have to buy a Poly and play now, as at least 2 other people in the chat have already mentioned. So you should be on
It's a lot
commission.
of fun. It's a lot of fun. And they're going to keep upgrading it. I really don't even know what to expect. I never would have expected stem export.
How much is your sound pack?
For the play, it's 50.
Wow. It's just, it just makes it such a thing.
And again,
Such a
20
thing.
20 new sample packs that are in the format for the play, so you can use all of their remixing tools and just start making music really quickly and get that inspiration really quickly.
Sold. Absolutely sold. Go check out Hardware Jams. Again, I'll put that link under there. We discussed that. Check out Electronic Sounds. That link's already up there. Go check out a URL. Thanks to Piero the Acid Clown, who's Mark Gardner, who's in the chat. Thanks for dropping by and saying hello. They do a stream on Tuesdays. Monday nights is the stream from Hardware Jams. Check out Kent Spong on a Thursday. He's normally on Thursday. Sometimes he's on every night, but good luck to him. Obviously, Pro Sound Network is on a Friday. Randy's on a Saturday. We're on a Sunday. Jamie from GeoSynth is on just before us. I hope you all caught that. What's on a Wednesday? Can you think of anything on a Wednesday? Inky will remind me. Something must be on a Wednesday. Wednesday. I'm on a Wednesday. I'm on a Wednesday with Oliver Gold this week. We didn't have one last week, but we will be having one this week with a serious talk. But it's just been eclipsed by the serious talk we just had earlier. So there will be impromptu streaming by me. This coming week, either Tuesday and or Friday, I'll do an afternoon chill out stream, just chatting on YouTube, because that seemed like fun. It says Monday's pretty boring, says Azio Head. Well, it's just Monday, isn't it? Oh, Sonic State on a Tuesday. Everyone knows about Sonic State at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday as well, of course. Sonic State also have a gig coming up. Check that out. That's 3 or 4 weeks away now. Their EMOM's coming up, which should be really kind of cool.
That's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one.
It should be good. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. So it's going to be good.
Are you going to perform at that one? You should
Maybe.
definitely come on, chat.
I can't
egg
say.
him on. Egg him on.
I can't say, but you may well see me performing. Yeah.
All right.
With my new Poly and play.
There you go.
That's all sorted. Yes, of course. Wednesday is Sonic State. Also, Molten Modular as well. That pops up in the evening. He's an amazing guy as well. And Piero the Acid Clan is on Tuesdays with the URL live. Fabulous. Thank you again. I justly can't thank you enough. I'll just keep saying thank you, and I'll text you thank you for the next 3 weeks, every single evening, for being such a brilliant guest. Thank you for your time. You must be exhausted. Honestly, so much appreciated. So much love in the chat for you. And
thanks for watching, everyone.
We'll all see you next weekend for this amazing show. All right, take care, mate. Thank you so much. Cheers, everybody.
Urbanist connect so with the herb mic. Link up the harmonized left the germ mic. But beyond obsolete blessings a birthright. We live a life which a lot for me no short worldwide. Cosmic love energy, I go herbicide free, organically, me say worthwhile. Watch the way one of you change her points in terms of definitions and some termites get sidechecked the eye. One side is defined by one side the other. I.e. I am an ideas man. I assign too much of the qualities of my guy. Who's way back talking like this to me? One is a construct, one is a creativity. The supreme one, all encompassing information in and of itself, most definitely. Another life infinitely, most life infinitely. Beyond the scripture, niceness can be. Blessed be. I continually, Mr. Pick up a being, that's the infinity.